I want my kids to experience all the wonderful things our beautiful world has to offer. So when I heard they could learn about the butterfly life cycle up close and at home, I knew I had to check out Insect Lure's Butterfly Garden. This all-in-one kit lets your child hold the wonder of metamorphosis in the palm of their hand. Watch your butterflies grow, then let them go. Head to insectlore.com to try this unforgettable experience. That's insect, I-N-S-E-C-T, lore, L-O-R-E.com. Insectlore.com.
When you stay at a Verbo, you always get the whole home. Not part of it, but the whole upstairs, the whole downstairs, the whole fridge, the whole backyard, and the whole nap room. Because is it really a vacation home if you have to share it with a host? Only whole vacation homes. Always all yours. Book on the Verbo app.
Hello and welcome back to the Shamrock Sportscast. I am Sam.
My name is Evan Cummings.
And I'm Adrian. Surprise.
Special guest Adrian Wolf will be here today to talk some sports with us. It's going to be a fun day. We have a fun, unique little idea for you guys. But Evan, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I've been with the baseball team a lot. I also did some softball in the last week. Both teams which have been pretty successful. One of them more successful than the others. But I'm just ready to have another great podcast, Sam.
So it's been a tough week for the baseball team.
It has.
And you've been with them every step of the way.
Yes, I have.
Can you kind of fill us in on what the pulse is like for the team right now?
So we are currently on a 3-game losing streak. I know that's something that no one wants to hear, but since we last podcasted, we actually won 2 games in a row. We beat Cathedral at home 6-5, which was a very impressive win. It was something that it was a resume builder for sure. We followed that with the first game of the Brownsburg series was a win 7-0 at Brownsburg. I know Ty Anderson pitched a gem in that one. And then Friday, we had a little bit of a weird pitching situation where we started Colin Lindsay in the first inning, and then Preston Tam came in. Or was it Preston? I think it was. It was either Preston or Nana. Regardless, it was a good game pitching-wise, but we could not get the offense going. And you'll kind of start to see that trend in these next couple of games that we're about to talk about. We lost that game 2-1. Monday against Carmel, arguably our worst game of the season, definitely our worst game of the season by far. The pitching wasn't there, the offense wasn't there. We just did not play good at all, and we lost 19-2, and that's all I really want to say about that. And then yesterday, Wednesday's game, the first game of the Fisher series, we lost 10-0 in a run rule. Jack Brown was just a little too much for us on the mound and at the plate. He had his first AB was a home run, and then he kind of never looked back. I believe he went 3 for 3 on the day. So that was just a really frustrating loss. And tonight we play the second game of the Fisher series. The series as a whole got moved up one day because of, we are doomed tomorrow for weather. I don't think any outdoor sporting events are going to be played. And then, Saturday we play home at Newcastle. It says away on MaxPreps, but it's home.
Okay. Well, that'll be a good opportunity for the boys to sort of right the ship. Obviously, it's never fun playing against the best competition. It's never fun. Obviously, you have to do it, and, that's how you gauge yourself against the best teams in the state. But, with the emergence of Carmel this year, and think about it, too. Last year, we put an absolute beatdown on the Greyhounds, and you have to at least think that motivation may have help Carmel, want to give it right back to us this year. And that certainly was the case.
Yeah, I talked to Evan Russ this year. After the game, he was like, I don't know why everyone's surprised. This happens every year. It just flip-flops every year because obviously this year we lost 19-2. Last year we won 19-1, and I believe our sophomore year we got blown out by Carmel. So that's a trend that I don't necessarily like. I don't think anyone really likes that a whole lot, but it's just something that happens between two very bitter rivals.
So how about softball?
Softball. Oh, let me check. I'm not prepared this morning, guys. I apologize. Also, shout out Aiden. I don't know why he's just not here this morning.
Got a text at 1:19 a.m. that Aiden would not be here today, which is good. We endorse it wherever he is at. But yeah, like I said, we have a fun little idea planned in a little bit. But while you look at softball, I'll talk a little bit about golf.
Yes.
Yeah, so back to last week, played HSC. Everyone played pretty solid. It was a little shaky down the stretch. Ended up getting beat by one with a 301. We shot a 301, which is a very respectable score, but HSC comes firing in with a 300.
Yeah.
Lose by one. Tough loss. Like I said, boys still played pretty well. Medalist was Jake Caesar with a 72.
He's the future, folks.
Jake is good. I'll tell you that. And you're gonna start to see that trend continue as I fill in the rest of the weekend. Played Saturday up at Warsaw, the Don Dicken Invitational, one of our favorite events of the year.
Yes.
We've won it 8 years in a row, and the boys came out firing. We sent out 2 teams. We sent out our 1 through 5, and then our 11 through 15. 1 through 5 shot a whopping 282, which is 2 under par, 2 off the school record in our first invitational of the year. Played really well. Jake with a 68, 4 under, or I think it was 3 under actually.
Par 71.
Par 71. And it was just a great performance from the boys. Also, our 6 through 10 boys went down to Hickory Stick for the Trojan Classic, I think, for Center Grove, and fired a 298, which was under 300 too. And like I said, these were our 6 through 10 guys. Not many 1 through 5s can break 300 in this state, but our 6 through 10 are doing the same thing. And that was a lineup that consisted of 3 freshmen. Ryan Caesar, who's the third of the Caesar boys. Hudson Kuchima, shout out Hudson, and then Mitchell Keene, 3 freshmen to go along with that. So that's very impressive. And boys continued their momentum with a win over Guerin and Carmel on Tuesday at Bridgewater. Jake, once again the medalist with a 71, played really well. Some other shout out, Gabe Nixon played the 6 for us that day, fired a 73.
Wow.
With a tripled hole 8, but was able to birdie enough holes to get back to just 1 over for the round. Like I said, big win, 292 for us, so very solid. But came out last night, played Guerin again, and didn't play as well. Shot a 158, and our low score was a 39. So it was just not a great performance for us. But that's okay, because we get to rebound right back and go up to Sandy Pines, which is where we won our regionals last year, and compete for a title there. So should be fun. Saturday will be a fun day. Also got a JV invite at Elwood Country Club. The Rocks sending 4 teams to that one. So should be a great weekend.
Absolutely. Diving into softball now. Since we've last seen you guys, it has not been pretty for the Rocks softball team. We went 1-4 in our last 5. The Wednesday that we did podcast, we lost to Greenfield Central at home 19-12. That was just a barn burner of a lot of offense and not a whole lot of pitching. And then the tournament in, I believe it was Kankakee Valley is where it was hosted, or maybe Lake Central. We went 1-2 on the day, with our first win coming in the earlier game, a 4-3 win over Kankakee Valley. We played at 10:30 that morning against Mishawaka. We lost 11-8, and then the time on here says 3 p.m. for the Lake Central game, but I'm pretty sure it was closer to 4 or 5 because of weather. It was 12. It was a 12-1 loss. So obviously not the pitching that we're looking for. And then Tuesday we lost away at Fishers 2-0. So I feel like a common trend that we're seeing with the softball and baseball teams is the offense is slowly deteriorating and the pitching isn't getting any better. So if both of these teams want to make sectional runs, then they got to step it up majorly. They got to play like a team. That is crucial. In the words of baseball coach Ryan Bunnell, playing like a team is way more important than playing for yourselves. And it's just, don't play selfish baseball. Don't play selfish softball. You got to be in it, for for a state championship. You got to play for each other.
Back to some news with boys and girls track. The distance kids had a big match. It's called the Flashes Showcase Miracle Mile, which is one of the most highly acclaimed matches of the year on their schedule. Ton of teams go, and it's one of the most fan-supported, recruited events that you'll see. Rocks with a pretty solid performance. Let's go to some highlights here. In the mile race, we had Colin Lacomic finishing first for Westfield. He finished 37th overall with a 4:24 mile. Obviously, That's very solid.
Yes.
And just behind him in, let's see here, in the 4x8, the Rocks finished ninth place with an 8:22, which is, once again, very, very solid.
Yes.
2-mile cumulative race. The girls also performed pretty well. For the team 4x8, they finished in 13th with a 10:30. Pretty solid. Like I said, there was a ton of teams at this event. So, and then some highlights from the 1-mile race. We had, one sec, it is loading. We had Liz Smith with a 5:29, finishing in 60th place. Pretty solid. With Emily Loisel, the freshman, or the sophomore, just behind her with a 5:32. So obviously this, these programs continue to carry off their success that they had in cross country, and we're seeing that in track so far this year.
Absolutely. When was the last time we talked about boys volleyball?
Last week.
Last week? All right. Because we are currently riding a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game win streak, and we have not dropped a set in 7 games.
That's this team is dominant, dude.
They are so dominant. Our last loss was to Fishers on March 27th. We are coming up on a month without losing, and it doesn't look like we're going to lose that anytime soon. We have an away game at Park Tudor tonight, and then next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have games against Avon, Perry Meridian, and Chittard. That is home, away, and home. So we're looking very strong coming into the later parts of the year. A tournament ends out the year for the boys volleyball team against Roncalli, Cathedral, and HSE. We beat Cathedral. We did not beat HSE, and I don't think we've played Roncalli yet. No, we have not. So that is going to be very interesting coming into sectionals where you got to play your best ball. Yeah. But this team, 12-2, have only dropped 8 sets all year, and they've won 38. That is, if you look up dominance in the dictionary, you see Westfield boys volleyball, and that could not be more true. I'm very excited to watch this team progress more than they already have, going into the postseason.
Yeah, and keeping it on track, but for the sprinters, we had a pretty good week at the Sprinter Showcase up at Lafayette Jefferson High School this past weekend. Shout out Dylan Walker with 2 really solid performances. He finished 8th in the men's 400 meter with a time of 50.88, which is something that I don't think either of us could do or even come remotely close to doing. He also ran in the 100 and finished in 18th. Also, Cade Parker, I think he's a first-year track runner. This kid has speed. He is like Lightning McQueen of the Westfield High School.
Ka-chow.
He has speed. Ka-chow, baby. But he finished in the top 20 of his 200-meter race. So ton of potential with him, and he's going to continue to get better as he starts to fill out his frame a little bit more. But that kid is very, very fast. On the women's side, let's see here. We had Lucy Hauser in the 100-meter hurdles, first place, with a PR of 15.5. That's pretty ridiculous.
That is.
And Lucy Hauser has continued to dominate at the high school rank. Obviously, we've seen her do this for her entirety of her career with this track program, and looks like that's not letting up. That's a personal record is pretty awesome.
She takes after her brothers.
Absolutely. She also finished with another PR in the women's 400 meter with 1 minute 1 minute and 0.21 seconds. It's hard to say.
It is.
finishing 11th, which is obviously incredible. So she continues to dominate her ranks. Toby Fapetu of the women's team in the 200 meter finished 6th with a 26.22. Pretty grubby right there.
Yes.
As well as Princess Campbell winning the women's varsity 100 meter race with a 12.22. Pretty awesome. Great showing from the women's sprint team as well as the male this past weekend.
Absolutely. Now, are you gonna introduce this new segment that we have, or I guess it's a recurring segment, just in a different time of year?
Yeah. So this is something we've sort of done in the past, but essentially, the two of us here are going to draft teams in the spring sports category based on how likely we think that they can win their respective state championship.
Yeah.
For instance, football team was very solid this year. They could have been, the first pick in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
Here, we're going to do it with the spring sports. And, this is something that, it's fun to do and it's exciting to talk about because, obviously we're still very early in a lot of these seasons, but at the more macro level, just sort of, putting these teams in comparing them to their respective competition in each sport and engaging where they're at and how they can use that to advance far in the state's tournament this year.
Yeah. All right. Adrian will decide who goes first.
Oh.
By just like a coin flip. Or you can just say, you can just think of a number and whoever's closer.
All right. Thinking of a number between 1 and 5.
Okay.
5.
4.
It was 3.
Evan.
That usually works.
Some game theory here. You never take the end number.
Hey,
especially if you're first.
I was trying to risk it all.
Yeah, I respect it.
All right, who are you taking?
So I'll take first and fourth.
Okay.
Okay. And my role with this team makes this pretty clear and pretty easy for me to do. But I'll take the Westfield golf team first
Solid
overall.
pick.
Currently ranked number 1 in the state. We were preseason number 1, and I think what puts this team over the edge for me is the fact that there's so many guys on this roster that just work their tail off. And when there's that many people who are so bought into the program and bought into every little thing that they're trying to do to win, it makes things a heck of a lot more easy. And, to be honest, I'm not really too this team has never had the amount of talent that it has had during my tenure at Westfield. And I would be hard pressed to think that they've ever had this much talent collectively on their team. Obviously, Alex Caesar is a stud. He's going to Ball State. Jake Caesar, arguably better. Those, they're very interchangeable brothers, always going head to head. Will Harvey is a stud. I mean, those are 3 guys that are probably in the top 12 to 15 of all golfers in the state of Indiana right now, and they're playing our top 3. Plus, look at Cam Coy, who has consistently played at that position and been so solid, as well as just some other solid pieces like Matthew Scholl, Ryan Caesar, Jack Harris, plenty of other guys. This team is so loaded, so deep, and I think that they're poised for a state championship run.
With my number 1 overall pick, I'm going to do, I would say, if golf was 1, this team is no doubt number 2. I'm going to go with the aforementioned boys volleyball team. 12-2 on the year. Brody McAfee leading the charge with 117 kills through 14 games. That is absolutely crazy. They were preseason favorites. If you ask anyone around Hamilton County, you would say Fishers is up there, HSC, but most of them would have said Westfield. We returned so many amazing hitters, and our setter, Will Byers. And he has some kills. I believe he's in the 20s in kills. So just that is one team that I am confident they will go far. I cannot wait to be with them for their sectional, regional, state run, because the trip to Worthing starts in a little over 2 weeks. So they were playing their best ball now, which is exactly what they needed to. Their 2 losses came earlier in the season. Obviously, 2 losses out of 14 games is not terrible, but they're both the conference opponents, HCC opponents, Hamilton Southeastern and Fishers. At least they got a set on them. But if they're not losing 3-1, they're winning 3-0. Just going through their games, their first 3 games of the year were 3-0 wins. The loss to HSE, 3-2 win over Brebeuf, New Pal 3-0. Fishers lost 3-1, and ever since then, we have not dropped a set. So you talk about dominance in a team. You talk about just no mercy. Don't let your foot off the gas. It is the boys volleyball team, and that's a mindset that I believe that they will carry into the sectionals in the state tournament. So with my number 1 overall pick, the number 2 overall, give me the boys volleyball team.
And, I think there's 2 teams that have definitely emerged as the top 2 pretty distinctly. So good on us for picking those 2. And that's not to say, like, I think there's plenty of value going forward with the rest of this draft. But those 2 were pretty distinctly some of the most dominant in their sports.
With my second and final pick, I'm going to go with the team that I don't think gets enough attention or enough love. I'm going to go with the girls tennis team. Now, last year, they were not the greatest. I believe they were most of the varsity guys, or girls, I should say, were first round exits in sectionals because we did play Carmel. But Isabella Norris made it far, and then she promptly did not come back to the team this year because I don't want to say she's too good for the team, but her USTA ranking is so high that it would pale in comparison to anyone on the girls or guys team of all time. So that was a big loss, but we still handled that pretty well. We played very well in match play against conference opponents so far this year. The season is young, but top to bottom, varsity to JV, we are very, very good. Granted that, you don't see a whole lot of JV action, but the varsity team is very, very good. And so they are my number 2 pick for the team that I think could win state in the spring sports.
I like it. That's very solid. And, they've continued to perform this year, and it's exciting to watch. I'll stay in the girls realm. We're going to go with the Westfield girls lacrosse team.
Really?
Yeah. Now,
that surprises me.
That's bold.
and here's why. This team and most of these players have the championship pedigree. Last year they advanced to the state title, got beat, and it's easy to argue like some teams can sort of struggle coming off of that, and we've seen that at times for this team. But I think just having that in their back pocket, knowing that there's so many people that have already been in the arena and already been to the highest level of a championship game, I think that's going to serve them well, especially as they get into crunch time of the season. We have Lauren Dean, who's an absolute stud. Molly O'Brien continues to be so solid, and there's just this team is very well rounded, and there's so many girls on this team that can help them get to that top level, and it's going to be exciting to watch them down the stretch. And like I said, when you get to a place like that, get to the state championship, that's sort of the expectation going forward. And so I'm excited to see the potential of this team. And obviously, like right now may not feel like that, but I think that as we sort of progress through the season and continue to get farther on, then they're going to be in good shape, just because they've already walked that walk. They've already talked that talk. So
They just got to do it again.
exactly.
Adrian, any thoughts?
I agree. I mean, they've had a pretty good year this year too, just from looking at some of the stats on Max Preps. I don't know much about girls lacrosse, but yeah.
That's fair enough.
Love it.
Any last words, Meph?
I don't think so. Any professional sports you want to dive into real quick?
Shout out Jalen Hurts. made a bag this week.
Indeed.
Made a bag.
Woo.
Oh my goodness.
What was the final number on that?
It was $255 over 5 years. So he's getting paid $50 million a year. Grizzlies took game 2 last night, 103-93. Braves, best team in the MLB.
Wow. So we have a kind of an early 2-horse race in the MLB. The Rays and the Braves.
Yes.
Obviously, you're a Braves fan, so you're a little bit impartial to that. But
Just a little bit.
do you think you guys are distinctly the best team in the league?
Top to bottom, if you look at our lineup, yes. I don't know how we've lost 5 games. I believe 3 of our losses are to the Padres, which is beyond me. But
like, you know, we know what the Padres are capable of.
yes, they have a great lineup. They just have not executed very well so far this year. Their record does not define them. 9-11. It does not, like, that record does not define them at all. It's early. And I'm a little scared that the Braves are kind of using their best stuff now. I would rather them save that for later on in the year. But we're 8-2 in our last 10. We have a plus 32 run differential. We are way better away than at home. Granted, we've only played 7 home games. We played 12 away games, but I digress. And the Rays, I don't know. I just figure they had a really hot start to the year. I'm not sure their lineup is all that, but you can't really say much except there's some really good baseball going on right now. Shohei Ohtani hit a home run last night. He also got robbed of a home run by Aaron Judge, who then hit a home run like in his next at bat. The final of that game was 3-2 in the Yankees' favor. You love games like that where it's low scoring, but you have some really good offensive highlights, and it's a barn burner between the 2 starting pitchers and their bullpens. MLB is going to be really interesting this year. Some new rule changes have come out that were really controversial at first, but I think helped the game. Also, my last little thing on the MLB, Max Scherzer, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? You cannot have sticky stuff, even though he swears it was sweat and rosin. I don't buy that, Max. I don't buy that.
We're stretching it a little bit there.
We're stretching a little bit. All right, you got pulled after the 4th inning, which those checks happen between innings, like every inning. I don't know how the umps missed it the first 3 innings, but it's just sort of beyond me.
No place for that. No place for that. Yeah, back to the Rays. You know, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys who have over 40 at bats, batting 300 or better.
That's crazy.
It's pretty
They
ridiculous.
still 14-3.
16-3.
16-3 now.
Yeah.
Great.
So they were 12-0, and then had a rough series last
They
week with
did.
Toronto, but right back.
They went 1-2 in that series, I believe.
Are you a Reds fan at all? feel
I
you are
follow them a little bit. I think the closest team besides maybe the Cubs.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're yikes.
They punked the Rays. 8-1
They did.
earlier this week.
But overall, they're not all that.
Yeah.
I believe Jacob Culp's a Reds fan. I don't want to give him a hard time. He had a hard enough time as it is last night.
Oh boy.
Against that Fishers lineup.
Yeah. That was been a tough week for Westfield baseball. But kind of going back to that, like, you know, I think it's good to have that adversity. We talked about this with the basketball team. We talked about this with the football team. But when you go through that adversity in the middle of the season, you learn about the capacity of your leaders. And this team has a lot of leaders in that locker room, and I have full confidence that they're going to be able to pull the guys off the mat and continue to rally the ship and have a great season. Because, like, think about it. Carmel gets punked by us last year, and you could more or less say that they were able to, you know, sort of rally back as the season progressed. But and I think that Westfield's capable of doing the same thing, especially with the talent that we have.
Exactly, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I'm still looking at the standings. I don't know how the Diamondbacks are leading the NL West with a negative run differential, no less. They're on a 6-4 tear in their last 10. The Dodgers, bro.
Dodgers are playing good, aren't they?
They're playing better.
I'm just
Yeah, they were terrible to start the season. They're still 9-10. I know that's Rowan Albert's team. Rowan,
Sorry to diss on you, man.
what you doing, bro?
Yo,
Like,
LB.
LB. I believe you had an uncle. It was either an uncle or a cousin that played on the Dodgers, so that's why he's a fan.
I thought that was race car. That's you.
That's me.
That is
I have a
you.
cousin that races in NASCAR. Yes.
All right.
He actually, sorry to brag here, he had 2 top 5s in his last 2 races. So I'm just saying, out of 40 cars,
Who is it again?
That's pretty good. Chase Briscoe. You can look him up.
Dang.
Yeah.
No way.
So I actually didn't know this. Some weird facts.
You guys boys? You and Chase, or more or less?
More or less, not as much ever since he went up to Cup.
Yeah.
But I see him sometimes. It's not as often as I probably should, but
It's all right.
yeah. The Rays are 10-0 at home.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
In that beautiful ballpark.
That's beautiful. That's not the term I would use for that. Tropicana Field has always been kind of a weird, terrible place to play, if you ask anyone that's played there, because at one point they used real dirt and turf for their outfield, which just did not mix at all. Yikes, the Royals are struggling. 4-15 with 110 runs allowed through, I believe it's 19 games. Yikes, what are we doing?
Is it too early to think that this Rangers team might turn into a dynasty here?
I was just looking at that. Oh my goodness. They are young, but they also have veterans that they needed to have leading the way. They're on a 4-game win streak, 8-2 in their last 10, 12-6 overall. They're front runners to win the AL West right now. And I would love to see this team in the playoffs. They're very entertaining. They play with enthusiasm, and they're a fun team. The Orioles are also a fun team, even though they're sitting 3rd in their division right now. It's a stacked division. 11-7, same record as the Yankees. 3-game win streak, 7-3 in their last 10. Adley Rutschman leading the way there, even though he is so young. I don't know if you've seen these videos circling the internet of I can't remember who it was. It might have been Adley Rutschman that hit a double, and he does a little sprinkler, and then the POs that just have an off day, they have water in their mouth, they just spit it out like a sprinkler. Yeah, it's so it was so funny. Let me look it up. Orioles sprinkler celebration 2023. There we go. Let's watch this.
That's funny.
Okay, we're just watching a TikTok.
Has lived up to the hype, putting runs on the board as well as rolling out these innovative celebrations where the base runner interacts with the dugout. When they hit a single, they turn the faucet on. Simple, effective. When they hit an extra base hit, naturally they turn on the sprinklers and the dugout lights.
Yeah, the Orioles have fun, and I can say I'm a pseudo Orioles fan after that. That is so I love teams that have fun. With just everyday baseball, you got to make everyday baseball fun. You're in it for 162 games. You got to make it fun somehow, and that's just how the Orioles do it, and they do it right. They have a winning record through, I believe it's 18 games that they've played. So, watch out for them as the season progresses and October gets nearer. Is that it?
Fun. They are gonna be fun. The whole rest of the season is gonna be very fun.
Cannot wait.
And it's gonna be very fun for Westfield sports going forward.
Yes. We have like a month left, a month and a half.
Crazy.
Like
this is flowing by. Feels like yesterday we were in the learning center doing college game day. Now we're a month out of being out of our jobs.
That's crazy.
I'll still be here though. Don't worry.
Yes,
Adrian will
still
be ready
here.
to pass the torch.
Yep.
Producer Alan, he's also got another year. He's a junior, so, yeah.
He's a junior with a senior heart.
According to Evan, I'm actually a senior.
Okay, let's relax. I wrote an article for Westfield Living, and I swear I put junior in there, but apparently I put senior, so that's tough by me. All right, I got to get out of here. I got pre-calc to go do. I don't want to fail a test.
Yeah.
So
Unpopular opinion, and I will come back to this. Miami Dolphins are winning the Super Bowl 2024.
Wow.
that's not happening. All right, peace out, guys.
Wow. All right. Take care. Peace.
Good evening, fine folks of Westfield and beyond, and welcome to the second game of a two-game series between the Fishers Tigers and the Westfield Shamrocks. Tonight, the Rocks look to bounce back in a major way, having been on a three-game losing streak. For Fishers, however, they're rolling into Shamrock Field with a 10-0 Mercy Rule win over Westfield under their belt. Let's hear about the pitching matchup from the man joining me in the booth tonight, Rowan Elbert.
Thank you, Evan. Tonight for Westfield, it will be Colin Lindsay, who started last Friday's loss to Brownsburg. He served as an opener for Ty Anderson, only pitching 1 inning. He threw 20 pitches and didn't give up a hit, but Ty Anderson is the man to look out for tonight as he's expected to come in for Colin yet again. Ty is currently sporting a nice 3.55 ERA after his impressive performance last Friday, where he went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, but he struck out 7. His slider is his most effective pitch, but it was the two-seam fastball that kept him in the game and got him out of so many jams. Now for Fishers, it's going to be Gavin Kuzniewski. He has an ERA of 3.9 on the year. In his last appearance, he only got through 1 batter, though, and gave up 3 hits, 3 walks, and 6 earned runs in relief. He is looking to bounce back against a slumping Westfield offense.
We'll see if he can, and introductions are underway here at Shamrock Field, and you will catch us for first pitch right after this. You're watching the Westfield Sports Network.
I turned it off. What about my mic?
We are about to be underway here from Shamrock Field as Colin Lindsay takes the mound, and he didn't have a long appearance in his first appearance of the year. 1 inning, did not give up a hit, gave up a walk, did not strike anyone out, and he only had 20 pitches. So, Rowan, what do you think we're going to see out of him tonight?
I think the same exact thing as last Friday. Just come in for 1 inning, give Ty Anderson some time to possibly extend his appearance to the end of the game, which is what kept Westfield in the game, I think, in my opinion, in last Friday's game.
I think Coach Minot's goal for this game is going to be trying to get him more than 1 inning on the mound, just to extend our chances. If he's doing well, extend our chances of Ty Anderson being fresh for the entirety of the rest
it all
of the game.
depends on the performance of Lindsay. If he comes in the first inning, gets absolutely shelled, then Ty Anderson will come in quicker than expected.
As we've seen him being a couple balls into the dirt.
Not encouraging.
Not very encouraging, but I feel like we could also see Seth Nana pitch in this game as well. If Ty Anderson, in the unlikely event that he is getting shelled, we might see Seth Nana tonight. Let's go through the batting orders here. Westfield's batting order from start to finish. The center fielder, Caden Lindsay. Batting second, Alex Rudolph, the designated hitter. Batting third, the pitcher, soon-to-be catcher, Colin Lindsay. Batting fourth, Evan Russ in left field. Batting fifth, Ty Anderson playing second base as the first pitch is about to be thrown here. Fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth is Nick Alm, also not Ian Wilson and Tyler Gentry. We will get to them, obviously, as the night progresses here.
The starting lineup for Fishers is looking like Ben Hammond, Jack Brown, Gavin Clayton, Quinn Seafelt, Noah McPeak, Calvin Brown, Huey Dunny, Evan Doran, and Brevin Barker.
All right, as Colin Lindsay gets into his rhythm, we see Ben Hammond in the box. Here's the first pitch. Called strike on the outside part of the plate.
Now, Ben Hammond, in the game last night, he went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, definitely looking to bounce back.
As Colin Lindsay beans a ball in the dirt outside and very low, as it's 1-1.
Ben Hammond, like I said, he struck out 3 times in 3 at-bats. In the last game, he's looking to get his first hit of the series.
Lindsay to Hammond. Swung onto the short base of the third base side, and it's fouled off, so it'll be 1-2.
Ben Hammond, something to note with him, he is batting .280 on the year, and he has 5 RBIs.
Lindsay's first batter, Hammond. Here's the 1-2. Low and outside, ball 2.
We saw this as kind of an issue with Lindsay in the last game, although he fixed it quickly in his last game, as he was kind of struggling in the beginning to find the strike zone. Let's see what he can do here.
The 2-2, swung on, fouled. Alm will throw to first, and it will be in time, and that'll retire the first batter.
Something to note, Andrew Nicholson is playing first tonight, but he will not be in the batting order.
He'll be replaced by the aforementioned Alex Rudolph, who is playing right field.
Now, Jack Brown, the Louisville commit. This guy is an absolute unit. He is a great player, a pitcher and hitter, has a 1.1 ERA as a pitcher.
As the first pitch to him is outside. He actually took our starter from last night, Jacob Kobe-Yard, in his first at-bat.
You have 3 home runs on the season for him with a .535 average.
As the second pitch is outside, and it's ball 2.
I think it's best with Brown to basically avoid the middle of the zone, because that is where he is going to hurt you.
The 2-0 as popped right into first, and Nicholson makes the catch for an easy out.
Now, obviously, at first base, not having Matt Drozlik is a big loss, but Nicholson, his glove, so far has proven to be pretty solid.
If you're wondering where Matt Drozlik is, he injured his knee in last night's game, came out after the second inning, so we are seeing Andrew Nicholson, the pitcher, in his place at first.
Gavin Clayton is going to be batting for Fishers.
As that is a called strike inside, and it's 0-1.
Gavin Clayton, he actually went yard last night, so that is something to note.
The 0-1. Curveball just high, and it's 1-1. We've seen Colin pumping the heat early, but he tried an off-speed there, and it didn't quite work. Here's the 1-1. Swung on, high, fouled. Nicholson's going for it. He's under it as Ty Anderson actually gets that catch, and the first half of the inning is over with no runs scored and no hits either. We will see you in the bottom of the first, 0-0 ball game heading into the second half of the first inning. You're watching the Westfield Sports Network. We are back for bottom of the first inning action here from Shamrock Field. It's a beautiful night for baseball. On the mound tonight for Fishers, Gavin Kuzneski. It looks harder than it is actually to pronounce. Thank goodness for the pronunciation guide on that one. You want to tell us a little bit about Mr. Kuzneski here, Rowan?
Gavin Kuzneski, like I said, yeah, that pronunciation, it's harder than it looks. 3.9 ERA, but in his last appearance, he absolutely got shelled. He only got through one batter, gave up 3 hits, 3 walks, no strikeouts, 6 earned runs. He is looking to bounce back in a big way. Batting first is Caden Lindsay. Caden Lindsay was a game-time decision coming into this game with a hip injury. Caden Lindsay is also playing center field tonight, and he has a perfect fielding percentage. So do not hit a ball into center field.
Let's hope not to jinx it. Last night, Kuzneski went 0 for 2 from the plate. Let's see if he can possibly do any better on the mound. He's looking pretty good in warm-ups, and they call Caden Lindsay 99 speed because he's just that fast. If you had a card of his and, I don't know, let's say MLB The Show, he would be 99 overall speed in a heartbeat. So we might see a bunt here. The hip has been aggravating him just a little bit. Sidelined him from last night's game, actually. So we will see how this goes.
Caden Lindsay, 455 average and only 11 at-bats. So obviously, small sample size, but he's looked really good so far.
First pitch to Lindsay, swung on and fouled back.
Definitely
he wanted
not
all
bunting.
that one.
That one was in the parking lot. That was hit hard.
Parking lot tennis courts. There's a tennis match going on behind us. Here's the 0-1 to Lindsay. Just a little bit low, ball 1.
Yep, I mean, that was a debatable call, but they are going to end up not giving it to him.
1-1. In the middle, strike 2, pardon. Strike looking there on a fastball that was thrown very, very hard. As here's the 1-2 to Lindsay. Breaking ball, got him on the edge of the plate. I mean, a very outside edge if it was anywhere.
I mean, this umpire, unlike the umpires we've seen in the past 2 games we've commentated, this umpire seems to be a lot more generous as Alex Rudolph is coming to the plate.
Rudolph last night went 1 for 2 with a strikeout, as the first pitch to him is outside, and it'll be ball 1.
292 average from the designated hitter, Alex Rudolph. 1-0 count.
Pitches again outside, almost the exact same spot, and it is 2-0.
This could be a common trend to see Kuzneski struggle against the left-handed batters.
As it's now a ball inside, and it's 3-0 to Alex Rudolph.
Way behind in the count. Let's see what he can do here. I would go right to the fastball.
Kuzneski, fastball, right down the middle.
What can I say?
You're a genie.
3-1 count.
1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Kuzneski pitching to Rudolph. Right down the middle again, strike 2.
Now back to the even count. I think you just give him the best pitch you have and hope it works.
As he calls time. Alex Rudolph, that is. On deck is the pitcher, Colin Lindsay.
Colin Lindsay, we do not know whether or not he will be back out for the second inning pitching.
3-2, grounded on the third base side. Rudolph running hard, but the throw will be in time and barely on the bag, as that'll be the second out of the inning.
Now, Colin Lindsay, something to note with his pitching in the last inning or the last half inning, he got some quick outs, and that is going to be very beneficial if he's going to go back in for the second inning.
Which we see, I believe that's Ty Anderson in the bullpen warming up for the second inning. The first pitch to Lindsay.
Did
outside,
he check the swing?
He did not. We've seen him a lot. We've seen him quarter swing a whole lot, and he did not go on that one, so it's 1-0.
Yeah, I agree with that call. Only went like a quarter of the way. 1-0 count.
As this one is fouled off very hard. He wanted that so bad.
Yeah, watch out for your car. I know we've made that joke like 5 times throughout the past 3 broadcasts, but
Got to look out for my car there. It's over by the tennis shed, if you know where that is in Westfield. Here's the 1-1 to Lindsay. Low, ball 2.
with Colin Lindsay, that off-speed low in the middle is something you expect him to swing at. I'm kind of surprised he did not swing at that.
As this one is swung on and right to the third base side, Colin Lindsay's trying to beat it out, and he does not, and that'll end the first inning. So after one, no hits by either team, we go into the second inning scoreless. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. Back here from Shamrock Field, Rocks 0, Fishers 0. Colin Lindsay returns for second inning action. The first time he's ever seen multi-inning action on the mound this year. Ty Anderson is at second, patiently waiting.
I actually really like this move by Bunnell because this provides more of a chance that Ty Anderson can go towards the end of the game. And obviously in the last game, he had a very high pitch count. It says 87 pitches, but that was just 6 days ago. So you can imagine, especially for a high schooler, that arm must be cooked.
Batting first in the second inning is Quinn Seafelt. Now this guy last night went 1 for 3 with an RBI and a triple, so he has speed. He also has warning track power, if not home run power. So we will see how the inexperienced Colin Lindsay does against a power hitter like this.
Especially with the wind, being a huge factor tonight.
It is blowing out towards left center field.
Yeah, anything that could be hit to left field has a chance, and that one will be outside.
Piped it outside, and it's ball 1. Lindsay pitching to Seafelt. Here's the 1-0. Just outside again. Same spot, same result, ball 2.
Once again, this also could be a decision that could backfire on Bunnell if it were to happen where Lindsay walks a bunch of batters.
As this one is grounded to shortstop, Gentry makes an error. He tries to throw, not in time, as that'll be the first, I guess, hit, or maybe they'll count that an error of the game.
In that situation, that is one of the many situations where you're going to miss Braden Hibbler, who will not be playing tonight.
I was about to say, yeah, Braden Hibbler is not filling that shortstop role. Instead, that is Tyler Gentry. So we have a lot of lineup changes tonight. I don't know if you guys were listening or not, but in right field tonight, it is not Evan Russ. It is Austin Knott, and playing left field is Evan Russ. As the first pitch to McPeak is high, and that'll be ball one.
A little bit too high. We saw this in warm-ups for sure. And now back to the 1-0 count.
Lindsay, just outside. That was barely outside.
Last night, McPeak, he went 0 for 2 last night with a walk. 2-0 count.
He felt with quite the lead there, as that one will be high in ball 3. So now we got to see, Collins got to get back in his rhythm if he wants any chance of keeping us grounded here in the second inning.
The question is, with all the walks he's had so far and all the balls, will he be able to make it through the whole inning? And that one will be inside.
Dials it in there for his strike, and it's 3-1 with no outs in the top of the second.
He needs some quick stops just like he had in the first inning, and that will benefit him in the long run.
As this one's up, Nicholson's under it. He thinks so, and that one is not. It's dropped, and the ball's away from him. Wow, I don't even know what I just saw. The ball was popped up to first. The wind took it so far, it was dropped, and the runner is safe at first.
That was just a complete lack of communication when it comes to the infielders, and something that was actually a great decision was by Seafelt. He kind of got in the middle of Nicholson and Alm, so it looked like he kind of had something to do with the miscommunication.
So now Lindsay pitching to Brown. Brown went 2 for 3 last night with an RBI. As the bunt coming, and it's up and inside, and that'll be ball 1.
Calvin Brown on the season batting .296, and he has actually 3 home runs, so that is a great power guy that might be, something to watch.
1-0, low and outside, ball 2.
But in this at bat, he's not using that power. He's trying to bunt.
Just trying to get the runners around. There's still 0 outs in the top of the second inning.
I do like that decision, though, because if you were to bunt, that then puts both runners in scoring position. And if you have a really good bunt, possibly the bases are loaded.
The 2-0 from Lindsay. Bunt fouled back right over our heads, and it's 2-1.
That one was really close to the window that's in the press box here. Huey Dunn will be the next batter up, and Huey Dunn on the season batting .293.
As this one's fouled on the third base side, and it's 2-2.
Huey Dunn, 9 RBI, so I can definitely get why you are bunting in this situation to possibly get 2 runners in scoring position, maybe even the bases loaded to get an RBI machine.
The Rocks stressed infield work before today's game, and let's see if it'll pay off.
Yeah, they didn't even have an on-field batting practice. It was just fielding work.
As that one was just high fastball, and it's 3-2.
3-2. I think in an even count, you obviously have to go with your best pitch, something that is most likely to go in the zone, 2-seam fastball.
As this one has popped up high into right field. Knott thinks he's under it, and diving catch just missed, as the bases will indeed be loaded with 0 outs, as the ball soars over Andrew Nicholson's head, as Huey Dunn will head up to the plate.
That's a play you obviously not. He failed to make the play, but that's something you really can't blame him for. As now Bunnell is walking out, possibly to take Lindsay out of the game.
As Lindsay, I believe, will indeed be taken out of the game to come into the catcher position. Obviously, they still need his bat. Or actually, they might keep him in.
Anyway, up next, Evan Doran. He is batting .333 on the season so far for Fishers. Doran, he did have only one at-bat in last night's game, and he struck out. So that is something to note.
Still 0 outs here. Colin Lindsay will stay on the mound with the bases loaded. I'm not so sure about this decision, but I am a measly commentator, so I do not know.
I mean, the bases loaded, 0 outs. This is quite the jam. Anyway, Huey Dunn back at bat, batting .293 on the season so far. Like I said, RBI machine.
He's going to try and get the second grand slam against Westfield this week. As he goes for it there, and he does not get it. Swing and a miss. 0-1 count.
That pitch looked a little bit outside. I don't get that swing, but once again, the off speed gets him.
The 0-1 to Dunn from Lindsay, as that one will be low. Great blocking by Nick Alm behind the dish, and it's 1-1.
That's what Nick Alm is known for, his blocking ability, not allowing potential stolen bases, which obviously in this situation you really can't unless somebody tries to steal home.
That would be a wild pitch, and did
he check his swing?
He did not go, so it'll be 2-1, just high. The backstop wall here at Westfield, at Shamrock Field, is a lot shorter than a lot of ballparks, so there's not a whole lot of room if there is a pass ball.
2-1 count.
Done, and it'll be low and inside.
Now, Huey Dunn did not play in last night's game. It's also worth noting that his brother Caden plays on the team and actually leads the team in stolen bases with 11.
There's the 3-1 to Dunn, and it's a strike. Huey wanted that one back. Sorry, Houston, that's his government name. As it'll be a full count with the bases loaded and no outs.
Even count. I think you go back to the two-seam fastball if I'm Lindsay, and it looks like there's going to be time called.
It's a big moment, you know. It's 3-2.
0 outs.
Bases loaded.
Yeah, bases loaded.
You already have momentum. Just trying to capitalize on it. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed.
That was exactly what Lindsay needed. A swing and a miss. That was perfect.
Colin Lindsay's first strikeout of the year in his second appearance, his third inning. As up to bat now is Brevin Barker.
That is actually Evan Doran. He's batting .333.
As this one's fouled off. Seen a lot of balls fouled off on the first base side, very, very shallow. It's almost adjacent to the third base foul pole.
0-1 count.
This one's high and inside, a little chin music, and it's 1-1.
Now still, even though we have one out, this is quite the jam for Colin Lindsay to get out of. Let's see how he can adjust.
As Lindsay steps off. A double play could end it right here. One ball ends it all.
That would be perfect.
The 1-1 just high, and that'll be 2-1.
Like I said earlier, that was an issue before the at-bat with his practice pitches. They were a little bit too high.
Lindsay delivers, swung on, right to third base, and it is down. That'll score one, as there's a second coming to score. The cutoff man not in time, as Fishers will get a 2-0 lead here in the second inning.
That's why they call it the hot corner in third base. Ian Wilson, although it looked like that was a very quick movement by him, just couldn't get to that ball in time, and that allows 2 runs.
A 2-0 lead for Fishers here, as this will be the end of Colin Lindsay's stint on the mound. Did the best that he could, just could not capitalize, and We will take a short little break here for the pitching change. 2-0 in the top of the second with 1 out. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. Top of the second here at Shamrock Field, 1 out. 2-0 ball game. Fishers leads. Ty Anderson in at pitcher. Last time around, he had 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 1 earned run, and 6 innings pitched against Brownsburg in the second game. 86 total pitches. I don't think he'll quite get to that tonight. Facing the bottom part of the order, and if they need to, they will. It'll be back at the top of the order with Ben Hammond and Jack Brown.
And Colin Lindsay, something to note with him, after he was taken out of the game at pitcher, he is going to be at catcher behind the dish. So I think, in my opinion, pitching and catching, those are the 2 hardest positions in baseball. Pitching mentally and catching physically, in my opinion.
One could certainly make an argument for those, as the inning will resume here in a matter of moments. Brevin Barker will be up to bat.
Brevin Baker, he is batting .67, 0.67. So he has been awful so far this year. Let's see if he can possibly turn his season around right here. He did not play in last night's game, by the way.
As Barker will step into the plate, Ty Anderson will face his first batter. Let's see how this goes. Here's the first pitch. Barker swung on and fouled off on the third base side, and it's 0-1.
Once again, he's looking behind him at second base to Evan Doran. Not too comfortable with him at second base.
Anderson going to try and get the Rocks out of a little bit of a jam here. As here's the 0-1. Delivery from Anderson. Swung on and fouled off again, and it's 0-2.
The question is, with 2 straight foul balls, can Barker make Anderson pay on those and get a huge base hit to drive in yet another run?
I smell a famous Ty Anderson slider here coming on his payoff pitch.
That's been the most effective pitch by him so far this season.
The 0-2 with 1 out, top of the second. Off speed outside and low. It'll be ball 1.
I think with this pitch, you go to the 2-seam fastball, which is what seemed to be his most effective pitch of being inside the zone in the last game, and got him out of so many jams.
Counts 1-2. Here's Anderson's payoff pitch. Struck him out. Got him looking.
A little bit outside, but still, Anderson, we're not going to complain, as now back to the top of the order.
2 outs here in the top of the first. Ben Hammond up to bat.
Ben Hammond is 0 for 1 so far on the day.
Let's see what Anderson can do as this one is fouled off. You could tell Hammond wanted to run on that one as the count's 0-1.
I really don't know why that ball was not even close to looking fair, but
You do you, twin.
yeah, that's just instinct.
Anderson gets signal. 0-1. Swung on into center field. This will be looping back. It'll be into the glove of Caden Lindsay, and that will end the top of the second inning. So Rocks surrender 2 runs, and they will try and see what their offense can do to get them back in the bottom half of the inning. You're watching the Westfield Sports Network. We are back here from Shamrock Field as we have some kind of disheartening news. Hopefully not. Rain is about 30 minutes out from what producer Alan tells us. So we'll see if we can get enough in for a complete ball game. Obviously, if we're not past, I believe, the 3.5 inning, maybe 4th inning, then we will have to resume this game another time. But up to bat now in the bottom of the second is Evan Russ. Last night, Evan went 0 for 2 with a strikeout, so he's been in a little bit of a slump recently, but he will try and find some success here.
I mean, still, with a guy like Evan Russ, 321 average, I mean, although in a slump, he is a guy that you can still count on.
Here's the first pitch to Evan Russ, and it nails him right in the shoulder. He just takes it and runs on to first.
He took it like an absolute champ, and you even saw it looking there. The ball came just flying off of his shoulder, so he took it like a champ. That had to hurt, but he's back at first with Ty Anderson up at bat.
I don't imagine that being intentional, but if it was, they walked a terrible person. Evan Russ is very smart on the base paths, and now up to bat is Ty Anderson.
Yeah, I can't imagine that being personal unless these two had beef in the past, which we would not know about, but Ty Anderson is back.
As Evan Russ gets back on quickly after a pickoff attempt, which was no good, and we were still awaiting the first pitch to Anderson. Russ with another hefty leadoff. Kuzneski pitching to Anderson. Anderson swings and misses. He swung a little bit high on that one as the count's 0-1.
He wanted all of that. That was just a full-on quick swing. He wanted a big piece of that ball. 0-1 count.
Now outs here in the bottom of the second. Evan Russ on first. Anderson at the dish. 0-1 count. Here's the pitch. Swung on again and missed. Seems like he swung a little high on that one as well.
Not the best start for Anderson, but we have seen him pitching-wise come back from big deficits. Let's see what he can do in the batter's box.
He has been in a little bit of a slump recently. The entire team has, but especially this one as a whole, as Evan Russ quickly gets back on the bag after a pickoff attempt.
I mean, this is something to note. In the past 3 games, Westfield has been outscored 31-3.
Absolutely unacceptable if you ask anyone involved with this organization. As the 0-2 to Anderson is swung on into
right field, and it will get down. Anderson going to second. Evan Russ going to third as they slide as the ball gets by the pitcher, but it is caught by the third baseman. Ty Anderson with a double to put 2 runners in scoring position.
That is just what Westfield needed. Just as I was mentioning, a huge slump from this offense, a huge hit, and now Nick Alm is at bat.
Nick Alm last night went 0 for 2 with a strikeout. I'm probably not going to talk a whole lot about last night's game because it really doesn't present itself as a right game to compare these players to.
Nick Alm, we can assume he is going to be the DH, as now Lindsay is at catcher.
As he has a good eye and left that one high and outside, and it's ball 1.
I mean, with Nick Alm so far on the season, the on-base percentage of 45%, that's pretty good, but that was just a very hard swing.
Very hard swing on a very inside fastball that was high, and it's 1-1. Alm usually known for having very good play discipline. We'll see if that continues in this at-bat. Here's the 1-1. Slider low, and that'll be 2-1.
Even count for Kuznetsky, and I think the best pitch for him would be probably another off-speed pitch inside, obviously.
As that one's high, and it's 3-1 to Alm.
3 balls against Nick Alm is a terrible position to be in, considering his plate discipline, and then the bases would be loaded if he were to walk.
He also has a heck of a bat, and we'll see what happens. 3-1, and they walk him.
That one
high
right
and over
his head. Right over his head.
So we see both starting pitchers lose a little bit of control here, as up to bat, Austin Knott playing right field today.
Austin Knott, he has not been getting the playing time that you could argue he deserves more. He is batting .333 so far on the season with a double. Not so far on the season, though. Only 3 at-bats.
Benel tonight said he wants the players that want to play, and you can obviously tell that Austin Knott is one of those players. Bases loaded with 0 outs in the bottom of the second. Austin Knott takes ball 1.
Once again, that has been a common trend for Kuznetsky for these pitches to be a little bit too high, 1-0 count.
As there's a mound visit between Kuznetsky and the coach.
I think that's exactly what they're going to talk about. These pitches have just so far in this inning, obviously 0 outs, have just been not inside at all. He has not been able to find the strike zone.
We see a lot of guys that don't get a lot of playing time, and they try and come up in clutch situations. We saw this not necessarily with Ty Gentry because he gets a lot of playing time, but in the Cathedral game, up until that point, he hadn't got a whole lot of playing time this year, and he had a very good game at the plate and even hit the walk-off. So we're going to see if Austin Knott can play hero here as the players are returning to their positions.
A grand slam from Austin Knott would be a huge crowd pop, especially a guy with only 3 at-bats. That would be a great story, and now a 1-0 count.
He's one of the best guys in the clubhouse, very kind and friendly, but he's also very competitive. So we will see what happens here in this at-bat. It's a 1-0 count, no outs, bottom of the second, bases loaded. The 1-0 to Knott. Just caught the zone, and it'll be 1-1.
I think that might have been a little bit too high, but this umpire is being way more generous than other umpires we've seen.
The 1-1 from Kuznetsky. Swung on and missed.
Once again, you were talking about playing hero. I don't want to say that was his intention there, but that was a big swing and miss.
Knott's got to dial it back a little bit. Get calm and get into a rhythm. Maybe disrupt Kuznetsky's rhythm. The 1-2 swung on into right field, and that'll be foul. And it's 1-2. That remains the count.
It's encouraging for him to make contact like that, but can he make Kuznetsky pay on this next pitch?
We'll certainly see. Here's the 1-2, Kozneski's payoff pitch. Swung on and fouled in almost the exact same spot.
With the mound visit and 2 straight foul balls, it feels like this at-bat has been going on forever, even though it really hasn't.
Been going on for a solid 2 or 3 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2 from Kozneski. Swung on, softly grounded to the first base side as they will miss the tag. The ball is dropped.
That's going to bring in yet another run. And would you look at that? 2 runs scored for Westfield, the perfect response.
Eli Manbeck gets in as the second runner, and we are tied here, folks, 2-2. What a start to this game. We've already seen a lot more offense than Westfield's produced in the last 3 games combined, as Austin Knott kind of plays hero there. Gets us up on the board and gets us tied with runners on the corners and still 0 outs.
Although on the stat sheet, it's going to say 0 for 1, but even though the stat sheet says that was a huge play to ground it in the perfect place to bring in 2 runs. And obviously the throw at home being not that good also helped. And now Ian Wilson is back at bat for the first time today.
Back at bat for the first time today, Ian Wilson. First pitch from Kozneski. Low and outside, ball 1. We are 2 batters away from being at the top of the order, folks.
Once again, those storms are moving in quickly, and you said 3.5 innings is what is needed to play a full game.
As it was an outside ball, runner was tried to have been picked from home plate, and Austin Knott got back there in a hurry. It's a 2-0 count. There's a 2-0 to Ian Wilson. Swung on, big swing, and just missed high, and it's 2-1.
That was a big miss. For that pitch being a little bit too high, he was going a little bit too low. That was a big miss, 2-1 count.
Not with the lead at first, and gets back. Not Kozneski's best move, and it's still 2-1.
Back to the even count. Obviously, Kozneski, this has not been the best inning for him. This has been probably the worst case scenario for him so far. I think you just give him what you think could be the best fit for the strike zone, the best pitch that you know will get in the strike zone.
As runner nearly goes, I think Austin Knott was thinking about it as there's an outside pitch. It looked like a pitch out, and it's 3-1.
3-1 behind in the count, and so far in this inning, his command has not been there. Let's see what he can do here.
3-1. Ian Wilson swings on this one. Is diving as the catch will be made in right field as the ball will nearly get by. Kozneski was backing up the catcher, which the ball got slightly out of his hands as that was the first out of the bottom of the second inning. Score remains the same 2-2.
It's very hard to believe with how long this inning has been compared to the last inning.
Flew by in a hurry.
Yeah. It feels like this inning's been going on forever. Only 1 out. Tyler Gentry, the walk-off hero in last Wednesday's game against Cathedral.
As Kozneski steps off. I think I've seen that glove before. I think Gage Stanifer had that glove last year. I don't know. He had a minty green glove like that.
Anyway, Gentry on the season batting .231. But it is worth noting he does have 6 RBIs.
Gentry going to try and bunt here. Fakes the bunt. Nearly swings and checks himself as the ball's outside and low, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, I don't get why he would try to bunt, so probably the best decision not to bunt in that situation.
Here's the 1-0 to the shortstop, Gentry. Not with a pretty big lead at first. The pitch from Kozneski swung on, tipped, and missed. Or just tipped, not missed. And it's 1-1.
Once again with Gentry, that's been my issue with him. It worked out in the Cathedral game, but that swing, I think, is a little bit too slow at times.
As the 1-1 goes right by his head, and it's 2-1. Can't imagine that was personal or anything. It was just wild pitch. Given his control tonight, either Kuzniski has a lot of enemies or he's just really wild and inconsistent.
Yeah, 90% of the time, it's usually nothing intentional, and with the way he's not been able to find the zone.
As not goes, but it's fouled off, and it'll be 2-2 with not returning to first base.
And with the way Kuzneski has not been able to find the zone, you can obviously tell there's nothing personal going on with that, as we are now at the 2-2 count.
One out here, bottom of the second. Rocks tied it up with a double by someone, I forget who. That was Not, or a single by Not. As the pickoff to third base tries to get on, did not, and no pitch was recorded, still 2-2.
The pickoff to third, I mean, that is something that you really do not see every day, as you
see a pickoff to first, and that didn't get Not. I don't know why he's so concerned. These are two, I don't want to say two of our slowest guys, but two of our least likely to steal a base.
Let me just be frank here. Do you really expect Nick Alm to steal home?
As there's a strikeout by Gentry. As we see the top of the order again with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Caden Lindsay, who struck out last time by, he will try and get himself an RBI here.
Caden Lindsay, although it's been a very small sample size, he has looked really good this season, and let's see if he could draw in an RBI with 2 outs.
First pitch low and in the dirt, Not will go, and they will just let him go as there are now 2 runners in scoring position.
This could be perhaps a huge hit for Lindsay in this situation to get 2 RBIs. And Caden Lindsay so far on the season has 4 RBIs. He's looking for number 5 and 6.
The 1-0 to Caden Lindsay. Swung on an inside pitch and just missed, and it would be 1-1. Back to your comment about Nick Alm. For those of you who don't know, Nick Alm is a catcher, so naturally he's not the fastest. He's a healthy boy. As the 1-1 to Lindsay's outside, and it'll be 2-1. He's healthy for sure, but he has power. He has that pop.
Even count for Zneski. 2-1 count.
As that one will be called a strike. I just figured it wasn't called before I said it, as it'll be triple twos on the board, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second, with the score being 2-2. That's kind of freaky.
Yeah, 2-2-2.
As the pitch from Kuzneski is in the dirt, no one goes. Great blocking there by the catcher, as it'll be 3-2.
3-2 count for Kuzneski. If I'm Kuzneski in this situation, I go straight to the 4-seam fastball. I think that is the best pitch for him in this situation.
Kuzneski's payoff pitch did not get him. Low and outside, and the bases are loaded once again.
Second time in this game the bases have been loaded, and now it's Alex Rudolph, the lefty, who is back at bat for the second time today. He was the only Shamrock in the last game with a hit.
He's been on the up and up this year, definitely, as we can see what he'll do here with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the bottom of the second. First pitch to Rudolph, high and just a little bit outside. It'll be ball 1.
I don't get why on that last play Alm was so far off of third.
I don't know. It figures if he gets off, he could maybe get home quicker just in the event. As the 1-0 is inside, groin level, and that's 2-0. Two outs here in the bottom of the second, 2-0 count to 1-2. Alex Rudolph with the bases loaded, as he will foul this one off right near the lights.
That ball was absolutely crushed. That one looked like it was going, if you know the ballpark area, that looks like it was going by the trees towards the left field line.
Looks like it could have gone on to 31. So if anyone's driving and listening, please be careful as the 2-1 to Alex Rudolph is way outside, and it'll be 3-1.
The command has not been there for Kuznetsky. This has really not been his inning, but still, 2 outs. If he is able to get this out, then I guess he's able to get out not rather unscathed, but just better off.
As it hits him, Alex Rudolph gets belted in the back as 1 run will score on a hit by pitch. Sacrifices body for a run, an RBI.
The second hit by pitch by Kuznetsky, surely he has to be shook tonight.
As there will be a little mound beating between the catcher and the pitcher, as they will actually try and get someone from the bullpen in for Fishers.
That's probably best. And Kuznetsky, he gave up 3 walks in his last appearance, and he only got through 1 batter. So kind of figures tonight Westfield, they were due for an offensive explosion. And so far, they have looked to bounce back after the last 3 games not really being the best offensive games for them.
As this will be Kuznetsky, that would have been Kuznetsky's last batter. Now up to pitch will be number 2, Kyle Manship, the right-handed pitcher, the senior, that's 6'1".
Kyle Manship so far on the season has a 1.85 ERA in 5 appearances, so that is definitely a guy you want in this situation to end the inning.
As we can see his first pitch, his first warm-up pitch right in the dirt. We might see a couple more runs here from Westfield, I hope.
Manship, it is worth noting he does have 1 save. Obviously, we are very early into this game, so not quite in position for a save. But still, he has come up clutch for this team. Can he do it again?
Now you're facing a lot of experienced hitters coming up. We are almost circling back in the lineup. Colin Lindsay will be up to bat this next batter. But after that, you have Evan Russ, who's very experienced, one of the best hitters on this team. Ty Anderson, who's been in a little bit of a slump, but got a double so far. And then we're right back at Nick Alm.
I mean, although Evan Russ in a bit of a slump, I mean, the whole team really has in the past 3 games. I think if you were to ask me which hitter on the team I most trust, I would say it would be Evan Russ.
As we are watching Manship's warm-ups, and his off-speed, his breaking ball is nasty. It has so much vertical movement. It'll be a tough challenge for these Westfield hitters.
But like you said, experienced hitters, and this is not the part of the batting order you want to face.
Then again, you only have 2 outs, so you just got to get lucky once.
But also, the bases are loaded. You need to try and limit the damage.
Exactly.
That's already been done this inning.
No one has hit a home run yet for Westfield this year. No one.
Will that change with a grand slam? Colin Lindsay.
Colin Lindsay draws a cross in the dirt, and he will step in with the 2-out at bat coming in the bottom of the second. Westfield now leads 3-2.
The one thing I am concerned, though, is that, as Lindsay will call time, is that Colin Lindsay, he does seem to swing at off-speed breaking pitches in the middle of the zone. But obviously, I am jinxing Manship, so let's hope that works.
As first pitch off speed high, and that'll be 1-0. That I can't tell if that's a forkball or if that's a curveball, but it is filthy. As the 1-0 delivery to Lindsay from Manship. Swung on and missed. The velo's just up there today, and it's 1-1.
Like I said, these slightly outside pitches have been getting Lindsay to swing and miss the past few games, and now we have a 1-1 count.
1-1 count with 2 outs in the bottom of the second. Pitch to Lindsay low, and it'll be ball 2.
See Austin not on third base. He was pretty far off third base in that last play.
He was getting antsy a little bit. He knows that with Manship's velocity, there also is some wild tendencies. The 2-1 to Lindsay. Should have swung, did not, and it's 2-2. That ball's right down the middle.
He thought about it. You can tell he thought about it. He went about halfway, so 2-2 count.
The 2-2-2 count in the second inning.
That's perfect, man.
It's baseball's a beautiful thing. The 2-2 fouled off right in and out of the mitt of the catcher, as it'll be 2-2 again.
He's very lucky he made contact on that pitch. That looked close, but he was able to barely make enough contact.
Waiting the 2-2 count. Manship's payoff pitch. Curveball, got him.
That is absolutely nasty, man. That is absolutely nasty.
As that will end the second inning, but the Rocks are up top, 3-2 going into the third. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. We are back here from Shamrock Field on a really good night, about to turn really bad as rain is moving in rather quickly, I'd say. We have a solid 15, maybe 30 minutes left, as we will see the power hitter Jack Brown come into bat. Quick little substitutions here. Ben Wasserstrom playing second base, and playing first base is Nick Alm. So we've seen a lot of position changes within the field itself for Westfield here
That's
tonight.
probably the best decision to have Alm at first, considering Nicholson so far tonight at first has really not been the best defensively. So Jack Brown will be at bat.
Anderson's first pitch to Brown is swung on and fouled off.
These are big swings by Jack Brown, and these big swings, I mean, we've seen them time and time again. He has power, for one, and he is an on-base machine.
The 0-1 outside and in the dirt. I don't know where he was going with that one. Colin Lindsay didn't even try and catch that, and it is 1-1.
Very lucky that nobody was on base.
The 1-1 from Anderson to Brown. Same pitch, a little bit different result. It's 2-1. That one was slightly less outside.
Back to the even count. I think you go slider on this pitch. This has been his best pitch all season. Let's see what he can do.
The 2-1 with the wind in his face. Ball moved a lot. It almost had knuckleball movement. Yeah,
too much movement. 3-1 count.
Knuckleball movement with, it seemed like, fastball velocity. Here's the 3-1 to Brown. Swung, fouled
Right
back.
by the window.
That scared Rowan Albert really bad, folks.
I mean, obviously, it's kind of an unconventional fear with the fence being right there and the window, but still, when a ball is coming right at you.
I would have just let it hit me.
Well, that's the difference between me and you, Evan.
Yep. Jack Brown is highly recruited, committed to Louisville, or as
He's signed
producer
to Louisville.
Allen
Or not
likes to
signed,
pronounce
he's-
Louisville.
He is committed.
Ty Anderson will pitch his payoff pitch to Jack Brown. Low and a walk.
And once again, the on-base machine, Jack Brown, and that his on-base percentage at .595, that's going to go up yet again.
Just a couple ticks. Now Gavin Clayton, 0 for 1 so far in the game. He is up to bat. We'll see what he can do.
368 on the year, batting 11 RBIs, 2 home runs. Does he have the power this at bat?
Ty Anderson's first pitch right down the middle. Got him looking, and it's 0-1.
0-1 count. I mean, we saw in that last at bat there was some pitches and there's a pickoff throw,
which is not in time.
Anyway, there was some off-speed pitches that had a little bit too much movement. Let's see if he could possibly get those in the zone in this at bat.
Here's the 0-1 to Gavin Clayton. Ty Anderson. Jack Brown dancing over at first as time is called. Does this ref have a man bun? I believe he does.
I think he does, yeah.
I think that's the first umpire I've ever seen with a man bun.
I mean, I'm not going to hate on it.
I won't hate on it either. I'm making an observation. That's my job as a commentator, to make observations. Here's the 0-1 from Anderson. Swung on into left field, and that'll get down. Fielding it and throwing, preventing any more damage. Great job by the left fielder. I can't even see who that's Evan Russ. And so that will be a hit for Gavin Clayton, but that only moves up 90 feet, so that's essentially a walk.
So once again, Gavin Clayton, despite that not being an RBI, he still gets crucial hits in crucial moments.
Now Quinn Seafeld, he's 1 for 1 with an error-filled at bat last time.
The catcher, Quinn Seafeld.
And on first and second, 0 outs here in the top of the third. Ty Anderson delivers high, and ball 1.
A little bit of off speed on that. I'm thinking right here, you go to the pitch that worked very well in the last game. Go back to the two-seam fastball.
The lights are coming on here at Shamrock Field. Wind is blowing out to left center field. I mean, if someone gets a hold of a ball, it's gone. As the 1-0 is called a strike. It's a little inside, but I will take that any day of the week, and it's 1-1.
I mean, like I said earlier, for probably the 5th time this broadcast, this umpire way more generous than we've seen from other umpires.
Anderson collects himself. Looks back at Brown. Pitch. High. It's in foul territory. Colin Lindsay's trying to get under it, and he's got it. Great play there.
Just what Ty Anderson needed, too, not to mention, as 1 out with a man on second and first.
That's a great first out of the inning there for Ty Anderson. Now up to bat Noah McPeak. He also is 1 for 1 with an error-filled at bat.
Noah McPeak, this guy, 429 so far on the season with 10 RBIs and 3 home runs. So like you said earlier, any ball, especially hit to left field, might be gone.
Anderson isn't necessarily a contact pitcher or a pitch-to-contact pitcher, but he sure wishes he was in this moment with 1 out here in the top of the third. Anderson looking back at Brown, delivers, and
They're going to say he checked his swing.
He looked like he swung about a quarter of the way, but I'm not going to complain at all.
I definitely will not either. That one was outside, and it did look like he swung about halfway, I would say.
The 0-1 to McPeak as Anderson still looking at Brown. Pitch. Strike right down the middle. That breaking ball is so good. And it's 0-2.
Once again, breaking pitches, off-speed pitches. Ty Anderson, he has been able to master them. 0-2 count.
Anderson looking to get out of a jam that he started himself with a walk to Jack Brown. Clayton singled as there's the pitch. Struck him out!
Once again, that one down the middle, and also not to mention, McPeak thought about swinging at that. He probably should have, and now 2 outs.
Got him looking. That's a great pitch there. As you said, 2 outs with Calvin Brown up to bat.
He's also 1 for 1 on the day with an error. Brown, he also has 3 home runs on the season so far.
Here's the first pitch to Brown from Anderson. Here with 2 outs in the third. Swung on right to Ian Anderson, and that will end the inning with a great throw over to first, over to Nick Alm, and that'll actually end the top half of the inning. I'm getting way too ahead of myself as the Rocks will finally, for the first time all year, go into the bottom of an inning, or it seems like all year, go into the bottom of an inning with a lead. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. We are back here from Shamrock Field. The bottom of the third will be commencing shortly with Evan Russell leading off, and then Ty Anderson behind him, and behind Ty is Nick Alm.
Kyle Manship is back on the mound, and he only did face 1 batter, but he did strike out that 1 batter. So let's see what he can do with a pretty tough part of the batting order.
Evan Russ 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch so far in this game. Let's see what he can do here. The seniors this year batting collectively have been a little underwhelming. Granted, Evan Russ is batting, 321, which is still pretty impressive. First pitch to Russ will be singled into left field.
It looked like the second baseman failed to make a play on that as well.
And so Russ finally gets on the board with a hit. That is his, I believe, 10th of the year.
Now Ty Anderson, who had a double earlier, is looking to possibly get a multi-hit game that would really help him break out of his slump he's had recently.
Obviously, last inning had the double to set up Austin Knott with a 2-run RBI. That was a great start to the bottom of the third for Westfield. That's certainly a start that they needed. They just need to continue to bring in this momentum as Russ was leading off, and Manship just kind of lazily threw over there as he will now legitimately try and pick off Russ, and that was late. I don't know.
I think that first throw was kind of more of a mental thing to kind of intimidate Russ, but then that second one was definitely intended.
As there's a third one, and that will not be in time. I think Kyle Manship, is that his name, Kyle? Yes,
Yep.
Kyle Manship has a little bit of a crush on Evan Russ. That's his
Really?
third pickoff attempt.
Come on, dude.
First legitimate pitch to Anderson is low and away.
1-0 count for Anderson. In the last game against Fishers yesterday, Ty Anderson went 0 for 2, and he struck out 2 times.
As Anderson will foul this one off into the bullpen, it'll be 1-1. Got good contact on it. Ty Anderson, I believe, leads the team in strikeouts. So he's not really the most disciplined. He's swing and hope it hits. But when he does swing, it does get in the gap fairly often. As time is called.
And that pitch, that hit was, not to mention the foul ball was right by the right field line, and he did hit his last double into right field.
As there's a fourth pickoff attempt at first base to Evan Russ, which is for the fourth time not in time. I don't think Evan Russ is that scary on the base paths. I don't know. Fifth pickoff attempt. Okay. This is getting a little ridiculous, Kyle.
I mean, Russ, although maybe not the speed, but I think he has the IQ on the base paths that could make him dangerous.
1-1. Fouled off again, and it'll be 1-2. All right, I think we've seen the record attempt, or the high school record for most pickoff attempts attempted in a single at bat with 5.
Is he going to go for number 6? He's looking at him. He's looking at Russ.
As there will not be, and it'll be outside, and Evan Russ will safely get to second base as Ty's got a runner in scoring position. The count's 2-2 with 0 outs.
Manship, like you said earlier, a lot of velocity, but at the same time, that could also create some lack in command at certain points.
As Manship steps off. I don't know who or what has been getting in his brain, but he has been looking mentally stressed out on the mound.
Now, Kyle Manship, 11 innings pitched, obviously including another one here. He has walked 12 batters before this game.
As he sends a ball in the dirt for ball 3 and will collect himself to throw his payoff pitch. The 3-2 to the pitcher, Anderson, from the pitcher, Manship. The delivery, and it's low.
I think Austin Knott, if I were him in this situation, or sorry, I should say Nick Alm, if I were him in this situation, maybe, just maybe, with 0 outs, maybe bunt to get 2 runners in scoring position.
And he's definitely thinking about it. Granted, he wouldn't be able to beat anything out. Well, he might be able to beat something out. I don't know. As the infield is in, and Manship checks on Russ again at second base this time. What a difference that makes.
Manship still looking at Russ on second base.
As Alm will send this one a dribbler over the third base line, and it'll be fouled, so it'll be 0-1. Manship, as we've talked about multiple times, having command trouble. It's just a matter of dialing in and seeing if he can do anything. Obviously, the Westfield offense has been way better, like 10 million times better than they have the last 3 games alone, just tonight.
And Manship, if I'm him in this situation, I think you go to any kind of fastball that is kind of easier to get in the zone than more off-speed pitches.
Guess what, folks? Manship checks on Russ for I think a collective 7th time.
Yep.
In this inning alone.
Still looking at him.
Swung on to Alm, and that will be a pass ball. Oh my goodness, folks. We have seen some errors here as Russ will try and score. He will get in.
And that puts a man on third as well. This has been a nightmare for Manship.
Wow. Oh my goodness, folks. 7 runs.
I mean, after the struggles of this Westfield offense in the past 3 games, this is the offensive explosion that everybody was expecting from them eventually.
To recap that play, it was a called strike. And the pickoff attempt from the catcher as Nick Alm will actually bunt, and that will score Ty Anderson. So a productive AB there. And it'll be 2-5 or 5-2 Westfield with the first out of the inning.
Like you said, Alm, he can't quite beat out anybody at first, but that was a beautifully laid bunt.
So now up to bat, Austin Knott with the bases empty.
Austin Knott came up clutch with that grounder into right field that brought in 2 runs.
As the pitch looked a little outside, but will be called a strike. The catcher's pickoff attempt to first was wild, and it went into left field, causing a run to score and Ty Anderson to be on third. Here's the 0-1 to Knott. Swung on, heavy swing, and just off the tip of the bat, and it's 0-2.
We saw that in the last at-bat. You said maybe trying to play hero, but also taking a big swing, especially for a player with getting little at-bats so far this season.
The 0-2 outside, and there Austin Knott's going to try and run it out to first, but the throw will be in time, so it'll be the second out.
Now, this is what Manship needs to possibly – I don't think they're going to bring him out for another inning. I mean, but still, we are early in the game, so it's very possible we do see him again, but it will be Ian Wilson coming up next to bat.
Wilson 0 for 1 today so far. Trying to get, I believe, his first hit of the series.
Batting 188 so far on the season.
First pitch, outside, ball 1. Ian also a varsity basketball player in the winter. So that's great conditioning for baseball here in the spring. The 1-0. Swung on, high roller up the middle of the field, and Wilson will try and beat it. He will not beat it. Great throw over to first, and that will end the inning. The Rocks answer with a 2 spot to take the lead 5-2. Take the lead even further into the 4th inning. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. We are back here for some 4th inning action from Shamrock Field in windy but beautiful Westfield, Indiana. My name is Evan Cummings. I'm joined by Rowan Elbert.
And to update the weather, which has been a storyline throughout tonight, there seems to be possibly a miracle panning out with a slight opening that could go right over Westfield. That would be incredible.
We will see what happens. Ty Anderson still the pitcher. Huey Dunn the batter, and he takes a big swing for the first strike of the inning.
Huey Dunn, he did strike out earlier in the game in his first at-bat. Huey Dunn, a little bit undisciplined, I will say.
As that pitch from Anderson outside, but a dribbler to third base. Ian Wilson. I am a Braves fan, guys, as they will get the first out there due to a catch by Nick Alm.
Now, Evan Doran, who is 1 for 1 so far on the day with 2 RBIs. So let's see what he can do in this situation with 1 out.
The only two runs, I should say, from Fishers. As Anderson's first pitch will be delivered. Swung on and missed. Great pitch there.
That was absolutely nasty. Off speed from Anderson. And that is going to get Doran 9 times out of 10.
The 0-1 outside. Ball 1.
Now, I will mention with Doran, so far on this season, he is batting .333 on the season.
As there's a big swing and a miss there by Huey Dunn, and it's 1-2 with 1 out here in the top of the 4th.
So far in this inning, Fishers, they have been a little bit undisciplined so far.
As Anderson gets a strikeout.
Exactly what he needed.
outside edge of the plate, and there's the third strikeout of the day for Ty Anderson.
Now, Brevin Barker is up at bat. He is 0 for 1 so far on the day, and he did strike out. And with the way Anderson has been pitching, that could be a third strikeout this inning.
As he takes a big swing and a miss. Anderson dealing his best stuff here towards the bottom of the lineup.
Anderson, he is really showing his best stuff in this inning. The breaking pitches have been on point. The fastballs have been on point.
As that one is low, and it'll be ball 1. Not every pitch can be perfect, but dang near all of them can.
1-1 count.
Pitch from Anderson. High and ball 2.
2-1 count. You have an even count. I think you go to the two-seam fastball. That seems to be the pitch that he gets in the zone most of the time.
Anderson to Barker. Swung on, lifted, shallow over the third base line as no one will get it, and that'll drop for a base hit. Now, Ryan Bennell will not be happy about that because they have stressed so much, especially leading up to this game, communication, playing like a team, and getting easy outs. Don't let them get any free bases, and that was a free base if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, a complete lack of communication by Ian Wilson and Gentry. Just not the best combination. And now Fisher's back to the top of the order.
Ben Hammond now 0 for 2 on the day. Here with 2 outs in the top of the 4th with a man on first. That's Barker. First pitch swung on and missed outside.
I don't get what he was swinging that on.
That was a filthy pitch.
That was filthy, but still a little bit outside. I don't get the swing. 0-1 count.
Anderson's pitch to Hammond. Swung on again and he missed. This one was low and outside. What is he swinging at?
Possibly a 3-pitch at bat coming. Let's see what happens.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves now, Rowan.
I mean,
there's a lot of work.
It's on pace. It's on pace.
There's a lot of work to still be done. Here's the payoff pitch. Fouled off, which I thought he got him swinging. I don't think he made contact, but it'll be 0-2 still. Now, you want to get this guy right here because if you don't, then you have the dangerous Jack Brown up to bat, which we all know what he's capable of. We've seen it before.
Still, Jack Brown hasn't really done as much as you have thought he would do tonight.
Here's the
so far.
0-2, and it'll be 1-2 now after that high ball.
A little bit too high, but once again, Ty Anderson, he needs to stay relaxed. Give him your best stuff on this 1-2 pitch. 2 outs, plenty of reason not to panic.
As that one will be outside and low, ball 2. So it'll be the count of the 2s. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. You're in the top of the 4th with a man on first.
Unfortunately, no longer in the 2nd inning.
That would have been something, wouldn't it have? The 2-2 swung on into left field, and that one will get down. Evan Russ fields it. The runners stay at first and second, single base hit, and things are not looking good for the Rocks right about now.
Now you have a man in scoring position, but Jack Brown, the way he's played all season, you could definitely expect, with also the wind being a factor, you could expect just an absolute huge hit from Brown.
Last night, Brown hit a home run in his leadoff at bat. Tonight, I believe he is 0 for 1 or 0 for 2.
0 for 1 with a walk.
0 for 1 with a walk. As Anderson steps off. I don't think he's nervous. He's just thinking about.
You really can't be nervous in this situation, even though you do have a man on scoring position. There are still 2 outs.
As that one will be called a strike. Hit the outer edge of the plate, and it's 0-1.
0-1 count. I think you go back to that nasty slider of Ty Anderson, which has been his best pitch all season.
Can't give it to him in the zone, though, because he'll smash it. Here's the 0-1 to Brown. That one will be low, and it'll be ball 1.
Like I said, yeah, with Jack Brown, you especially want to avoid the middle of the zone with the way he's played this season, as he has hit 3 home runs, and especially with the win tonight, anything to left field is fair game.
The 1-1 from Anderson. Swung on into right field, and that one will be caught by Austin Knott. And The Rocks hold their lead going into the bottom of the fourth. The score is 5-2. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. We are back here from Shamrock Field. Rocks lead 5-2 in the bottom of the fourth. We are seeing Kyle Manship still out there with
That's
Tyler
risky.
Gentry.
That's very risky with the lack of command he showed, giving up 3 earned runs, 2 in the last inning. This could be a very risky decision by Fishers.
Due up for the Rocks are Gentry, Caden Lindsay, and Alex Rudolph, who all do not have a hit and have a combined 2 strikeouts. So we'll see. I feel like the Fishers head coach is pretty confident here to keep his starting reliever out on the mound, at least for another inning.
Once again, though, like you said, 2 strikeouts combined from Gentry, Lindsay, and Rudolph, but these are all 3 good hitters, and they're due for a hit at some point.
First pitch to Gentry is high, and it'll be ball 1. We are now under the lights here at Shamrock Field.
Not quite dark out, but just the clouds, all the cloud coverage.
As Gentry will foul this one off on the third base side, and it's 1-1. He was very early on that, and he turned on it really, really quick.
Now, something to mention with Gentry, his swing, I wish it were a little bit quicker. There have been some really slow swings with him, and they're going to get him looking on that 1-2 count.
That was right down the middle for Gentry, and it's 1-2 here in the bottom of the fourth. There's no lead to protect, so you can be as aggressive as you want here. At bat, here's the 1-2, swung and missed.
Once again, that fastball, when that gets in the strike zone on a rare occasion, that is a nasty pitch.
Manship's second strikeout of the night, and now we are back to the top of the order with Caden Lindsay.
Caden Lindsay, he was a game-time decision going into this game with a hip injury, and it looked like he tried to bunt.
He did, and that'll be a strike.
I really don't get that with the infield in and nobody on base.
Here's the 0-1 to Lindsay.
That was a nasty pitch. That
curveball was something else. Very good, and it's 0-2 now to Lindsay.
That had some movement on it.
Manship finally finding his rhythm. Here's the 0-2. Same pitch, different result. This time it's low, and I don't think the catcher did a very good job of blocking that one.
He did not, but luckily for him, nobody on base for Westfield. 1-2 count.
Here's the 1-2 to Lindsay. This one's fouled off.
That one was crushed into the parking lot.
Crushed just in the very opposite direction that we wanted to go. Bottom of the fourth, 1 out, 1-2 count to Caden Lindsay, the leadoff man. Payoff pitch in the dirt and hit the backstop fence about.
Terrible job by the catcher trying to block that, as he made an attempt to block that, and then the ball went flying almost towards the window in the press box.
And a terrible throw back to the pitcher. I think they're just all over the place as the count's 2-2. Manships 2-2 to Lindsay. Just low, good plate discipline there. As
he thought about swinging at that. You can tell he did almost check his swing. Luckily, he did not. That would not have been the best swing, and now we're at an even count.
Full count.
I think you go back to that curveball that was nasty earlier.
1 out, payoff pitch. Outside, Caden Lindsay's walked.
He went about halfway on that swing, but luckily he did not check his swing, and now it looks like that will be Alex Rudolph at bat for Westfield.
He's 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch today. Even whenever he's not productive, he's productive.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a hit yet today, but he has a hit by pitch. He's willing to put his body on the line as there's a pickoff attempt. What is it with Kyle Menship in these pickoffs?
Yeah, you saw with Evan Russ in the last inning, he tried to pick him off like 7 times.
Here's supposedly the first pitch to Rudolph, and that'll be a curveball dropped in there for a strike on the outer edge of the plate.
That was a nasty pitch by Manship. Maybe he does a lot better against lefties. Let's see what happens.
There's a pickoff attempt. Once again, not in time. I don't think he's gotten a single pickoff attempt yet.
I wish we were keeping count on how many pickoff attempts he's had in the past 2 innings.
Caden Lindsay goes, and it's fouled off, so it'll be 0-2. As he'll have to jog his way back to first base.
I mean, the pickoff attempts with the Manship, it has to be somewhere close to 20.
Which for a single pitcher in 2 or 3 innings of work is not good.
Definitely not, especially with 0 successful pickoffs.
And that one will not get him. Shocker there. That's his 21st of the night. We'll just call it 21.
0-2 count.
There have been 4 thrown balls. Only 2 were actual pitches. Here's the 0-2 to Rudolph. Curveball dropped in there.
Back to the curveball that got him earlier looking.
4 strikeouts.
And now back to Colin Lindsay.
Lindsay 0 for 2 with a strikeout tonight.
I mean, once again, with Colin Lindsay, although he is in a slump, only batting .226 this season, he is still a guy who has a lot of experience and possibly could come up clutch at the right time.
As that curveball is way outside in the dirt, and it's 1-0.
3rd straight actual pitch he went with the curveball, and there's another pickoff.
Great, just fantastic. Manship's 1-0 to Colin Lindsay. Swung on and fouled off. You can tell he wanted that one. And Caden Lindsay wanted to go bad on first base as he somberly walks. I think this is one of the first times all year that we've seen all 3 Lindsay brothers on the field at the same time. Or not Lindsay brothers, Lindsay family members, as Coach Lindsay's the first base coach. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and fouled off again. Same pitch, same result, just different part of the lineup.
Now, I think this would be a beautiful moment if Lindsay's able to break out of the slump and get a huge hit, possibly drive his brother into scoring position. That would be great.
As the 1-2 is driven into center field, he's under it, and it's caught. So no score here in the 4th inning, but it remains 5-2. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. Back from Shamrock Field, back from Westfield, Indiana. I got to start changing that up a little bit more. Rocks lead 5-2 here in the 5th inning, top of the 5th. Ty Anderson with 3 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 walk, 0 earned runs so far in the game in his, I'd say 4 1/3 innings pitched. I'm not exactly sure how much, but we will see. Gavin Clayton, who's 1 for 2, up to bat.
Ty Anderson although he did give up a couple hits in the last inning, he overall looked really good in that inning and gave us kind of a little bit of a throwback and gave us some shades of his last performance against Brownsburg, where everything in certain innings were getting in the zone.
First pitch of the 5th inning. Ball low outside. 1-0. As Ty Anderson looks a little ticked off out there on the mound.
I think that's exactly what Westfield needs, a ticked off pitcher.
As that one will be a strike. That two-seam fastball is nasty, and it's 1-1. Right down the middle, too.
Yeah, that two-seam fastball, great movement, and now to the 1-1 count.
1-1 count to Clayton. That one hit him. So, free runner on first for Fishers. 390s, as the baseball folks like to say.
And now the first baseman, Quinn Seafelt, is up at bat. He is 1 for 2 so far on the day with an error as his hit.
As I believe Coach Bennell is going to argue the fact that there was a hit by pitch there.
I don't think that's really the case he's arguing. I think he's really arguing, did he lean into that pitch? And obviously that's something that's really hard to prove.
Especially without instant replay
Yeah.
availability here in high school baseball.
And even then, to judge the hitter's intent, it's very hard.
As the first pitch to Seafelt with Clayton having a big ol' lead off of first. That one swung on. And
Big swing.
big swing and a miss. The miss is the crucial part, and it's 0-1.
Now, something to note with Fishers, they are 5-1 on the season when they steal 3 or more bags. Carson Dunn, who is not playing tonight, he leads the team in stolen bases with a whopping 11 so far.
As the pickoff is not in time. We haven't seen a whole lot of successful pickoff attempts so
From
far
either
this
team.
game. Even in this series, I think we saw one against Westfield last night, as that one is swung on and missed.
That was a nasty breaking pitch from Ty Anderson, off speed, bottom of the zone. That looked beautiful.
As it's 0-2 now with 0 outs here in the top of the 5th. Here's the 0-2 to Seafelt. Anderson looks, delivers, swung on, third base side, fouled, and the count remains 0-2.
That ball was hammered close to third base, and I would like to believe that Ian Wilson, if that ball were fair, Ian Wilson would have scooped that up.
The 0-2, Anderson looks over to first. High pitch. That one got away from him, as it'll be 1-2. Just got to dial it back a little bit. Nothing too hard, just enough to get the runner out.
Maybe go back to that slider like I've said many times before.
We will see the 1-2 from Anderson. As the runner goes, and he got him! Colin Lindsay with a caught stealing.
And the strikeout. I mean, that play could not have gone better for Ty Anderson and this Westfield team. Now 2 outs.
What a great series of events for, as you said, this Westfield team. As now batting Noah McPeak. He is 1 for 2 with an error-filled at bat and a strikeout so far. Let's see what Ty Anderson has to offer. Here's the first pitch from Anderson. That'll be a little inside, but called strike. That off-speed is working for him very well today.
Yet the breaking pitches, the breaking balls, these off-speed pitches are looking great for Ty Anderson. That one's a little bit too high.
Yeah, got away from him just a little bit. We see those every once in a while. We've seen him, I think, in every at-bat almost. As the count's 1-1 with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Anderson delivers, and it's in the dirt outside. Lindsay didn't even make an attempt to get that one.
You really don't need to. Nobody on base. You really don't need to. 2-1 count.
2-1 count. No one on the bases. 2 outs here. Anderson looks for the sign. Gets it. Delivers. Swung on right to Tyler Gentry. He makes a diving play. Throw over to first. Not in time.
Ooh.
That was a risky call.
I mean, great play by Gentry, but I think the throw was just a little bit too high.
Either too high or he got it out of his glove a little too late, as a runner will remain on first, and up to bat will be Colin Brown.
1 for 2 with an error. Once again, there have been 3 errors so far in this game. And that has been a point of emphasis with Bunnell and this Westfield team.
Anderson's first pitch, strike one. That's low in the zone, but
back to the
called
breaking
strike,
ball.
and it's 0-1. Weather here in Westfield moving in at a rapid rate, I'd say.
Yep, those clouds keep piling up.
As this one will be softly grounded over to first base. Nick Alm gets it, throw over to first, got him, and that will end the inning. Great inning there for Westfield on defense. Now let's see what they can do on offense heading into the bottom of the 5th. We lead 5-2. You're watching the Westfield Sports Network. Bottom of the 5th inning here. Action from Westfield, Indiana. You have a little weather update for us, Rowan?
Yes, I do. And this is great news. It seems like there's going to be nothing hitting Westfield until after the game at around 10 o'clock. And this means we can play a full ball game.
You know, I feel like if this whole commentating thing doesn't work out for either of us, I think we could both be pretty good meteorologists.
Maybe.
Due up for the Rocks, Evan Russ, Ty Anderson, and Nick Alm.
Kyle Manship is still out there for Fisher. So far on the day, 2 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 1 hit, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. But we saw in the last inning that curveball has been absolutely nasty for Manship, and he's been getting those in the zone.
Under the lights is where the players shine here in Westfield, Indiana. As Evan Russ will walk up to the plate.
Evan Russ so far on the day, 1 for 2 with a hit by pitch and a single.
We hold a 5-2 lead into the 5th inning. Our pitching is just going to maintain dominant, and I feel like Westfield could walk away with a win here.
A much-needed win to end a 3-game losing streak. The longest losing streak of the season.
As that one will be low. Curveball did not get Russ. He usually is known for swinging on off-speed pitches, the first pitch, and that time he had a lot of discipline there as the count's 1-0 as Manship delivers yet another pitch. This one's outside and it's ball 2.
Now, like I said, Manship, this is a great phrase. With great velocity comes not as great command, and we've seen that so far in this inning.
Fantastic quote there, Rowan, as that one will be driven into left field for a base hit. Yet another single for Evan Russ tonight.
The one thing I will say with Evan Russ, the plate discipline tonight from him has looked great. He obviously took one for the team earlier with the hit by pitch, and now Ty Anderson, who had a double earlier, is back up at bat.
As the pickoff attempt to Russ is dropped and not in time either way.
That is the 8th time in this game where Manship has tried to pick off Evan Russ.
I don't know what's so appealing about that pickoff move to first. Russ is probably, as that
was
curveball
nasty.
is dropped perfectly in the center of the plate, and it's 0-2.
although we are obviously pulling for Westfield, you love to see a curveball just drop into the middle of the zone. And that will
one
happen
drop.
again. 0-2 count.
Russ on first, 0 outs here in the bottom of the 5th, as Evan Russ will scurry on back to first. And here's the 0-2 from Manship to Anderson. Pitch swung on and missed. A 3-pitch at bat and a 3-pitch out for Ty Anderson.
Like we said earlier with Ty Anderson, he's the kind of batter where he doesn't have a lot of discipline. He just hopes to, another pickoff throw, he just hopes to, get a hit whenever he swings.
How many pickoff throws are there going to be in this game? Nick Alm is 0 for 2 tonight with a walk and a sacrifice bunt that was an RBI. As that pitch got away from him, it'll be 1-0. Great block there by the catcher.
I'm not even exaggerating, but we might get close to 30 pickoff throws in this game. And there's
another one. This one, a tag was not even applied. I got to go ask Evan Russ after the game why he was being picked off so much.
1-0 count.
1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. The 1-0 high and ball 2.
Like, that off speed has been the really saving grace of Manship, but that time just a little bit too high.
Here's the 2-0 from Manship. Swung on and missed. That was a clean swing, but an even cleaner pitch, and it'll be 2-1. As that throw back to the pitcher got away from him a little bit.
And Nick Alm, great plate discipline. So for you to get him to swing and miss like that, that pitch has to be really nasty, and it was.
Here's the 2-1 from Manship to Alm. That one's outside, and it'll be ball 3.
3-1 count. There is a lot of ground to make up, but still 1 strike. Possibly go back to the curveball, and you have a even count.
As there's time called by Nick Alm, adjusting his batting gloves. He did that last game as well. It's something to throw off the pitcher. Here's the 3-1 to Alm from Manship. Right down the middle, strike 2. Loaded count now.
That curveball dropped right in there yet again. 3-2 count.
Full count here for Alm. Man on first, 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Here's the pitch. Walked him.
A little bit too high.
As now there are men on first and second.
That's going to be the 3rd walk of the day for Kyle Manship. And Austin Knott is back up to bat.
We've seen a similar situation to this before, folks. Austin Knott had 2 men, I believe, in scoring position and had a 2 RBI single as he swings on an inside pitch, and that'll be strike 1.
As we've seen in this game, Knott's 3rd at bat, he's not the most disciplined hitter, but as we saw in his first at bat, these hits, they can come at crucial times.
As the pitch from Manship is going to be popped up into right field, and he's under it. Russ will tag up, and he will get there in time. So a sacrifice, it's not even a sacrifice fly at this point. It's just advancing the runner 90 feet. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Now up is Ian Wilson.
Ian Wilson 0 for 2 on the day so far. He is looking to get his first hit since the Cathedral game, actually, where he had 3 hits in that game.
All on this field, might I add.
All on this field. A man in scoring position.
I was about to say, they all came in pretty clutch positions. As there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Men on the corners. Ian Wilson takes a strike right down the middle. That's a pitch you should swing on.
Oh, I know. And, of course, Wilson, only a sophomore. I think a more experienced hitter would have probably swung at that.
Here's the 0-1, and he swings on that one. And it's fouled off, so it'll be 0-2. What's happening with these catcher back to pitcher throws? Because they're getting away from Manship a little bit.
They really have not been on point all night. And now an 0-2 count with 2 outs.
The 0-2 from Manship.
That will
Got him on the
drop
breaking
in.
ball.
Great breaking ball from Manship, and that allows him to possibly go back out there for one more inning.
As we head into the 6th inning, your score 5-2, Rocks lead. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. Back here for some 6th inning action from Westfield, Indiana. Westfield leads 5-2 here in this one. Ty Anderson still pitching. He's got 4 Ks, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 1 hit by pitch on the night. Now up to bat, Huey Dunn for Fishers.
Huey Dunn so far on the day, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Let's see if Ty Anderson in this at-bat can get strikeout number 5.
Last time around, he had 7 strikeouts versus Brownsburg. Let's see if he can have similar success here. As the first pitch to Dunn is swung on and fouled back. That was a rock. Actually, that's into left field. And that will be out of reach of Evan Russ. I thought that was that looked like it was fouled straight back.
That looked like Russ had a play on it, but that one looked like it went just inside the bullpen on the left field side. 0-1 count.
Regardless, it is a strike. And so something I've noticed about Huey is he takes a long time to get back in the box after a pitch. Like he takes an unnecessary amount of time.
And also the plate discipline for him in this game has just not been there.
As he takes a ball down low and it's a 1-1. Of course, whenever we start talking about bad play discipline,
yep, that happens.
Everyone turns into an MLB player. Here's the 1-1 from Ty Anderson to Huey Dunn. This one swung on and missed. That was a huge swing and a miss. Great pitch by Ty Anderson, and it's 1-2.
Ty Anderson, that pitch, breaking pitch low in the zone, just a little bit outside, but with a guy like Huey Dunn, you can afford to do that as he will swing and miss.
Here's the payoff pitch from Anderson. Swung on right in front of Colin Lindsay. He will throw over to first, gets the out, and that'll be the first one of the 6th.
Huey Dunn now 0 for 3 on the evening.
Now up to bat, Evan Doran he's 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a strikeout. Anderson looked pretty strong.
Evan
here.
Doran, he did bring in the only 2 runs that Fishers has scored all night.
Here's the first pitch to him. That had some nasty movement on it. That was a 2-seam fastball that looked like a reverse slider, and it's 0-1.
0-1 count.
Same pitch, different result.
Maybe too much movement on that one.
Yeah, just a little bit. It was way too outside and a little low, so it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 to Doran. Swung on and missed. That was a nasty breaking ball, and it's 1-2 now.
Once again, the breaking pitches at the bottom of the zone in this inning have been Ty Anderson's best pitches.
As this one is fouled off. That one was low and outside, and I don't know. Doran just kind of smacked his bat around and said, hey, let's try and make contact. Just trying to get any contact whatsoever, weak or strong. Here's the 1-2 from Anderson. This one's grounded up the middle, right to Tyler Gentry. Gentry will field it cleanly over to first in time.
I will say Tyler Gentry, other than the possible late throw to first, he has looked great tonight at shortstop, filling in for Braden Hibbler.
Except for that one little drop that he had earlier on in the game. But then again, like he was still pretty close to getting to first. Now up to bat, Brevin Barker.
Brevin Barker, he is 1 for 2 so far, and that one will be fouled back towards the press box.
That was a rocket, and yeah, 0-1 count, fouled off. Ty Anderson looking to get a 5th strikeout here. The 0-1 to Barker. This one's fouled off again, and it's 0-2.
That one was also absolutely crushed. That one, like you said, could go out to 31.
Oh-two, 2 outs, top of the 6th. Anderson's been looking really good here. Here's the payoff pitch, just high. 2-seam fastball, very high. That was chin level. That wasn't necessarily chin music because it was still over the middle of the plate, and it's 1-2.
Yep, the 2-seam fastball just rose a little bit too much.
And here's Anderson's 1-2. Swung on and fouled back. I heard that hit the roof of the press box. And it's 1-2. Still.
1-2 count for Ty Anderson. And that last pitch before the foul ball, that 2-seam fastball went a little bit too high. They call it a riser, for a reason. And that one just rose a little bit too much.
Here's the 1-2 payoff pitch from Anderson. Swung on and barely made contact with it.
I really don't get that swing. That ball looked way outside to me. 1-2 count.
Anderson's 1-2 to Barker. Delivered over to first. All makes a play. He runs over and he gets the final out of the top of the 6th inning. The Rocks head into the bottom of the 6th with a 5-2 lead. Great defense there by the Rocks. You are watching the Westfield Sports Network. Back here from Westfield, Indiana for some bottom of the 6th action. Under the lights on a beautiful Thursday night. A little windy, but nonetheless, some exciting baseball going on. It is 5-2 Rocks lead. Kyle Manship still in the game, even though he has had a rough couple of innings, giving up, I believe he gave up all 5 runs for
He gave up
Westfield.
3 of the
He gave
5
up 3?
runs.
Good to know. So up to bat first is Tyler Gentry. The order, the first 3 batters coming up for Westfield: Gentry, Lindsay, and Rudolph, who collectively do not have any hits and 4 strikeouts.
And the first time we did see Manship, he did struggle with command, and he still has, but he's really found his way with the curveball.
As Gentry settles in, Manship also settles in. The first pitch, low and outside. Ball 1.
And also to mention, too, his 2-seam fastballs, they have struggled to find the zone in this game so far.
As Gentry takes a strike. I was a little inside, but it was a fastball nonetheless, and it is 1-1. Manship's 1-1 pitch to Gentry. Low and in the zone, but barely called a strike, and it's 1-2.
That one dropped in there beautifully. They barely call it a strike, which that was probably the right call. Beautiful off-speed pitch.
Here's the 1-2 to Gentry. Swung on, softly hit in right field, and that'll be down for a base hit.
And that is just what Tyler Gentry needed. And now, after going into this game batting .220, that average surely will go up with Caden Lindsay now up to bat.
0 for 3 on the night with 2 walks. He's very disciplined, but also a strikeout. So, looking at the next 3 batters, they have a combined 0 for 9 tonight with 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a hit by pitch. As the pickoff attempt not in time.
Surely we're close to 30 pickoff throws on the day so far.
I think we're there. I think it's safe to say that. The first pitch to Lindsay supposedly. Manship delivers. It's a bunt that he pulled back, and catcher lost the ball, finally found it, and Gentry's not going anywhere. It's 1-0.
Now, bunting in this situation wouldn't quite be the worst decision considering there's no outs and obviously a man on first. Get him in scoring position.
It also would not be the best either. There's two sides to every decision, as the 31st pickoff of the night will be not in time. I wish we thought of a pickoff tracker that we could put on the broadcast somewhere, but I don't think we have room. It's a pretty crowded screen.
I really do wish we started counting these, though. Maybe next time.
The 1-0 for Manship. Curveball dropped in there for a strike as Gentry will try and go, and he will be in time. Wow. Okay, so Gentry's safe at second.
That was a close one. That was a close one. That ball was just a little bit too high when thrown, and that allows Gentry to make it to second.
As it'll be a 2-0 count here for Caden Lindsay. As Benell's harking signs. Presumably a bunt sign, presumably not.
Maybe not in this situation when you have the man already in scoring position, when you have Gentry already in scoring position. And
it will be an attempted bunt that will be fouled back, and it'll be 2-1. First base was in.
I really don't get the purpose of bunting at this point. I mean, you already have a guy in scoring position. Why not try to drive him in?
The 2-1 to Caden Lindsay. Looking for his first hit on the night. The delivery, just kidding, another pickoff attempt. Except this time to second base, so it's a little different.
Pickoff attempt number 38 on the day so far, pretty much. I mean, obviously that's not an exact number, but
43, 57, it doesn't matter. Pickoffs are pickoffs. There are so many of them.
Even count.
Here's the 2-1. Bunt coming from Lindsay as there will be a throw back to second base. Barely caught by the second baseman as Gentry is safe. And it'll be a 3-1 count.
So far in this inning with Manship, this has really not been his inning, even though the past couple of innings have looked like improvements for him. As the command once again not being there, and now a man on second with 0 outs.
Here's the 3-1 to Caden Lindsay, as this one will be a walk.
Right over his head, too.
That'll be the third walk tonight for Caden Lindsay as Alex Rudolph comes up to bat. He's 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout and a hit by pitch.
And that is also something to be concerned about with Kyle Manship, as Kyle Manship, he has had a lot of success with the lefties in this game, with the lefty, I should say.
As Benell gives him some hopefully wise words of wisdom before this I'd say pretty big at bat. I mean, you're later on in the game.
I mean, 0 outs, possibly get 2 guys in scoring position, maybe bunt.
We could see a lot of things happen here. Alex Rudolph is pretty fast. As we see a bunt here, as that will be pulled off in a strike.
What did I tell you? That would be a great idea, but 0-1 count.
Even though it looked just a little bit outside, I am obviously not on the field. It's 0-1 here with 0 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Manship looks over at second base. Gentry has a pretty hefty lead as Rudolph tries to bunt again, pulls off, as that'll be a ball, and it'll be 1-1.
1-1 count. I do love the decision to bunt, and if it's a perfectly laid bunt, the bases are then loaded with 0 outs.
Rudolph looking like he's going to swing. Just kidding, he's going to bunt, and that one will be fouled off into the Westfield dugout, and it'll be a 1-2 count to Alex Rudolph. Rudy. That's what the Westfield dugout usually chants around this time.
Rudolph, he's looking at a sign in his pocket, a card in his pocket. Now back to the plate, 1-2 count.
Hopefully one that says swing away. Here's the 1-2, and he sure swung, but he did not make contact. It'll be a strikeout again for Alex Rudolph, his second of the night.
That breaking ball was absolutely nasty. I hate to admit it, but still, that got Rudolph swinging. for the 6th strikeout tonight for Manship.
As Colin Lindsay steps into the plate, he's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. He's just trying to be productive out there. That's all he's trying to do at this point.
Colin Lindsay in the midst of a pretty bad slump so far.
As this one will nearly get away from the catcher, but will get on it just in time to not let any runners advance. It's 1-0.
Lindsay still looking for his first hit of the series.
Which is shocking if you look at his recent success from last year. Here's the 1-0 to Lindsay. Outside and low ball 2. Gentry nearly slipped and fell. He had so big of a lead. He was about halfway to third and went back.
If he did slip and fall, that would be quite the throw to second. But this catcher, like we said earlier, his throws back to the pitcher have been not so good. So maybe that could have resulted in an error.
Here's the 2-0 to Colin Lindsay from Kyle Manship. Swung on, and it'll be into the left field gap. They're going to send Gentry home, and he will get there safely. It's a 6-2 ball game for Westfield. A great RBI single for Colin Lindsay.
That was just terrible fielding by the shortstop. I thought for sure he was going to make a play on it, but it just went right past him. And here we are, 2-6 ball game.
With Evan Russ up to bat as well. He's 2 for 3 with a hit by pitch and 2 singles tonight. As this will most likely be Manship's final batter. There's only 1 out as well, so they're going to see if Manship can get into a double play here.
I really don't get the point of, maybe keep him out for one more batter, but still, 4 earned runs are just not a good look at all.
Certainly giving Ty Anderson or Seth Nana, whoever comes in the game next, a little cushion.
Plenty of run support tonight.
Here's Evan Russ's first pitch from Kyle Manship. Swung on and missed. That was a big swing for a big miss.
And a little bit too high, too. I really thought that could have been a ball that was a little bit too high.
It's 0-1 here. The pitch from Manship to Russ. Swung on again and missed.
The second straight swing and miss from Russ.
I feel like Manship goes off speed here and just gets him looking. But what do I know? Again, I'm just a commentator.
The curveball has seemed to work a lot for him tonight. Maybe go back to the curveball here.
Especially if you can locate it. It's deadly.
It's a nasty pitch.
The 0-2 to Russ. Runners go. They don't know who to throw out, and that one will be not in time because
he also struck out Russ, too.
He also did strike out Russ, but runners advance. 2 runners down in scoring position for Ty Anderson.
Seventh strikeout tonight for Manship. And Ty Anderson, not the most disciplined hitter, but he could possibly get a huge hit that could secure the win.
As we see Jacob Coleman in the Fishers bullpen warming up. We will likely see him in the 7th inning. First pitch, low and outside to Anderson, and that'll be 1-0.
Jacob Coleman so far on the season, not too great. 7 ERA in 5 appearances, but he does have a save to his name.
Caden Lindsay with a good stolen base as well as Evan Russ. Or not Evan Russ, sorry. Alex Rudolph as the second pitch is outside but a fastball, and it'll be 2-0.
Once again, the command on fastballs have really not been there tonight for Manship.
Here's a 2-0 to Anderson from Manship. Manship delivers. Anderson swing and a miss. Big swing, big miss. Feel like I've said it a million times tonight, and it's 2-1 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
I really don't get that swing. I thought that pitch was a little bit too high, but 2-1 count.
Anderson tonight 1 for 3 The double, a walk, as this one will be fouled off. And it'll be a 2-2 count. A double, a walk, and a strikeout. So you're productive in 2 at-bats, and you're not productive in 1. So realistically, you're going 2 for 3. As it's the count of the twos, folks. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 5-2 lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Sorry, 6-2 lead. As the pitch from Manship,
We're going to give
curveball,
that to
got
him.
him. And that'll end the inning here, as Westfield will look to end it all here in the top of the 7th inning. 6-2. You're watching the Westfield Sports Network. Back here for hopefully the final time. I cannot speak tonight. Rocks lead 6-2 here in the top of the 7th. Ty Anderson is going to try and close this thing out. He has 4 strikeouts tonight, only 1 walk, a hit by pitch, and 4 hits total. So just going to try and mitigate the damage.
Most importantly, with Ty Anderson, 0 earned runs. That's been the most important part for him.
Obviously, knock on wood. He's got a relatively tough part of the lineup here with, I believe it is Ben Hammond, Jack Brown, and Gavin Clayton, the 3 toughest hitters on this Fishers lineup to get through. His control is still mildly there. We have seen some pretty wild pitches.
Supposedly, Ben Hammond, 1 for 3 so far on the night.
Anderson's first pitch of the 7th inning to Hammond. That one will be low and actually get away from Lindsay. So it'll be 1-0 here. We do see, I believe that's Seth Nana warming up.
Hopefully they will not need Nana, though.
The 1-0 to Hammond. This one is swung on and missed.
Absolutely nasty pitch from Anderson.
High swing to a low ball. If I know some people are keeping track at home, that's 21 nasties. Here's the 1-1, and that'll be called a strike. It'll be 1-2 to Hammond.
Right on the edge of the plate. Good, generous call.
The 1-2 to Hammond. Anderson gets set, delivers.
He fouled that off.
I was so ready to make that
I really
call.
didn't see the contact either, but once again, we're in the press box. The umpire's on the field. Who are we to judge?
Exactly. Here's the 1-2 from Anderson. That'll be low. It'll be ball 2. The 2-2 count. Anderson's just trying to get this inning over with as Hammond steps out. Hammond's 1 for 3 tonight. Here's the 2-2 to Hammond. Grounded over to Gentry. Gentry fields it cleanly over to Alm. Got him for the first out of the 7th inning.
Only 2 outs away from securing a huge win, which would end a 3-game losing streak, which is the longest losing streak of the season.
The Rocks, especially Coach Manel, said that they wanted to play like a team, and tonight they have certainly played like a team. Their offense has bounced back a lot, and their pitching has finally controlled some of the best hitters in the HCC. As, speaking of Jack Brown at the plate, he has been off tonight, but he has been so strong in this series. Here's the first pitch to him. That'll be in the dirt outside, and I could have caught that if there was no fence or window there.
Colin Lindsay obviously tried to block that, but it went flying towards the fence. 1-0 count.
1-0 to Jack Brown, obviously. There's a ground ball to third base. Ian Wilson fills it cleanly, and Alm gets him.
Only 1 out away. Seth Nana is warming up in the bullpen, but I don't mean to jinx, but I don't think we're going to need him tonight.
Great play there. Great extension by Nick Alm here.
Gavin Clayton up to bat. He is 1 for 2 so far on the evening with a walk.
As Jack Brown is still standing at first.
And a mound meeting between Lindsay and Anderson. What do you think they're talking about?
I don't know, but I believe Jack Brown might have been safe. He might have beat it out, or Alm wasn't on the bag fully because he's still on the bag. Regardless, Clayton is in the box. He's 1 for 2 with a walk tonight.
I don't know how we missed that.
And that's a great pitch by Ty Anderson for the first strike. Brown with a lead off of first. The 0-1, this one will be fouled back right over our heads.
That one's flying right towards the press box. But Gavin Clayton, something to note with Clayton so far on the season, he is batting .368 with 11 RBIs.
The 0-2 pitch was high and a fastball, so it'll be 1-2 with 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning.
I think if I'm Ty Anderson, I think you go to the slider, which has been a nasty pitch for him all season. Get the second out.
Because here's the 1-2. That one nearly hit him, and that'll be 2-2 count. Worst case scenario, you get a soft ground ball, you try and turn a double play, and best case scenario, the game's over. Here's the 2-2 with a 1 out here in the 7th inning. Anderson gets the count, delivers, swung and struck him out. That was a weird call, but I made it. It's now 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning with Quinn Seafelt up to bat. He is 1 for 3 tonight with an error-filled at bat and a strikeout.
Back to that last pitch, the breaking pitch, absolutely nasty, and that's really been Ty Anderson's calling tonight, and now 1 out away.
As that first pitch is high, and it'll be 1-0.
I think if I'm Ty Anderson, I think you go back to the 2-seam fastball, just get anything you can in the zone.
The 1-0 to Seafelt. High and chin music. Oh my goodness. I don't think that was intentional. That's just the way that ball was going, and it's 2-0 now.
Second time in this inning where Ty Anderson has almost hit the batter in the head, and now a 2-0 count.
Pitch to Seafelt. Swung on, fouled back, first strike.
That ball was hammered and fouled back, and now an even count.
The 2-1 here to Seafelt. Anderson looks, delivers. Low, ball 3. 3-1 count now.
The fastball, the 2-seam fastball, just had a little bit too much movement. Now a 3-1 count.
3-1 count with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Anderson deals. Swung on. Right to Tyler Gentry at the shortstop position. Throw to first in time, and the Westfield Shamrocks have defeated the Fishers Tigers.
A much-needed win for this Westfield team as they now improve to 5 wins on the season and end a losing streak of 3 games.
Your final here from Westfield, some beautiful Shamrock Field, 6-2. Westfield improves to 5-5. That will end the series against Fishers. Their next game is Saturday versus Newcastle at home. Finally broke the losing streak. It feels so good. My name is Evan Cummings. I'm joined by Rowan Elbert, and we will see you guys next time.
Good night, Westfield.